My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 526. Cheating the Empress. The woman in front of her is the Empress of the Jiali tribe, Kai Jinghan. She raised her palms expressionlessly, and Fen Lin, who was imprisoned in the air, floated in front of her. So Big Fen Lin looked at this woman and couldn't help but sigh. Zhou Wang finally met her opponent. And he is a crushing level opponent. However, the other party was wearing armor, so he knew if it was empty inside. Anyway, Fen Lin didn't believe it unless he saw it with his own eyes. Hand over the god eye. Kai Jinheng's voice was extremely calm, without any expression. After finishing speaking, the pressure on Fen Lin disappeared. He fell from the air to the ground. Fen Lin shook his arm slightly and looked at the woman in front of him. With white hair and red eyes, he should be from the Jiali tribe. Beauty, I am one of you. Are you from the Jiali tribe? There is a person named Kai Lin from your tribe, who was my wife. Fen Lin said with a smile. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin with flat eyes. Are you telling the truth? Why did I lie to you? We already have children. As Fen Lin spoke, flames suddenly appeared on his body and he turned into a burning man. Kai Jinheng raised his hand and grabbed the flame. The flames immediately dispersed, but Fen Lin's figure also disappeared here. Kai Jinheng's eyes gradually narrowed and he said slowly, continue to keep an eye on him. Yes, Empress. In the forest in the distance, Li Zhen knelt on the ground respectfully. Of the grandmother. Fen Lin had sunk into the seawater, blocking all his breath. Relying on his strong body, he swam to the other side. He felt that the distance was almost there, so he floated to the surface for air. Energy began to erupt in the sea, accelerating madly. Finally, he swam to the other side, but Fen Lin didn't have time to jump ashore. I found the woman from before standing on the shore. The long silver-white hair dances in the wind. Fen Lin was about to sink when he found that his body could not move again. He simply flew out of the water and landed in front of Kai Jinheng. Haha. Beautiful sister, what a coincidence. Fen Lin looked a little embarrassed. Click. Suddenly, there was a loud roar in the air around Fen Lin. His body was immediately tightened. Stop. Sister, I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you. Fen Lin said immediately. This person is definitely much better than Lonely Dawn. Fen Lin did not expect to have such bad luck meeting such a master. Kai Jinheng let go of Fen Lin again, his voice gradually becoming colder. Despicable thing, this is your last chance. Sister, you are so fierce. Fen Lin had a smile on his face, but he tied up this man. With hate in his heart, teach him a lesson. But now there's no choice but to give up the god's eye. He took out the god eye and handed it to Kai Jinheng. Anyway, this is useless for Fen Lin. The main treasure this time is Liang Yingyan's space ring. Kai Jinheng didn't reach out to pick it up, he greeted him gently. The god eye automatically fell into his hands. Sister, this is something sinister, you'd better not use it, Fen Lin reminded. After saying that, he quickly left. Stop. Kai Jinheng's voice came from behind Fen Lin. Fen Lin stopped, turned around and asked, what's wrong? Who told you? Kai Jinheng approached calmly. Fen Lin said, I am from Luoxiujian, of course the old man told me. Impossible. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin coldly, until now, Wujian doesn't have one in hand, how could they know? Fen Lin was surprised. Who was this woman? Everyone knows these kinds of things. Tell me, what is the secret above? Kai Jinheng urged. I won't tell you. This is what my grandfather told me, but my grandfather died a long time ago. Fen Lin closed his eyes, just kill me. If I die, no one will know the previous secret. Then you die. Kai Jinheng raised his hand. Click. The air around Fen Lin began to compress again. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and looked at Kai Jinheng with white eyes. The muscles on his body were tight and twisted, and blood spurted out. However, Fen Lin did not blink. He knew that at that moment he should not give in. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin's ready-to-die expression, then lowered his head and looked at Kirzian. Then he let go. Fen Lin immediately took out the silver needle and stopped the bleeding. He shook his arm and the originally twisted left arm returned to normal. Do you still know medical skills? Kai Jinheng squinted slightly, his dark red eyes flashing slightly red. It is time, and I will pretend no more. I am the Doctor of Death. Fen Lin was about to scare her with the country and took off his mask. I wonder if you have heard of it. So you are the Doctor of Death. No wonder. Kai Jinheng naturally knew this name, the top master of China's younger generation. In the future, he will be a strong enemy of the Jia clan. Kai Jinheng took off his left wristband and stretched it in front of Fen Lin. I allow your dirty hands to touch my noble body and see if there's any problem with my body. Fen Lin looked at Kai Jinheng, thinking this is an opportunity, and he grabbed the other person's soft wrist. At Meridians, they are too powerful. Fen Lin was surprised to feel that his strength was even close to that of the old man. Okay. There's something wrong with me. I said it wrong. I will die. Kai Jinheng withdrew his hand. An inch below your heart, the meridians are twisted and formed into whirlpools. They should be left behind when fighting with the masters. Fen Lin pointed to the large bulge on Kai Jinheng's left side. It's usually fine. As long as you fight for a long time, his heart will be damaged. Colic. Kai Jinheng was shocked. This death doctor truly lived up to his reputation. And. Kai Jinheng said in shock, she only had this hidden injury. Yuan is here. She has been a little angry lately and drinks more lava. Fen Lin said lightly. Do you know the consequences of pranking me? Kai Jinheng raised his eyebrows. Stop talking nonsense and kill me if you can. Anyway, you will come down and accompany me in a time. Fen Lin deliberately scared the other party. This person's powerful physique cannot return to the West because of such a hidden injury. Are you scaring me? Kai Jinheng looked disdainful. I'm a doctor, how could I lie? Fen Lin took out a silver needle and stabbed Kai Jinheng's wrist. Kai Jinheng hesitated for a moment and then agreed. After the silver needle was inserted, I didn't feel anything. Click your heart, Fen Lin said calmly. As Kai Jinheng was wearing armor, he used ki to mobilize the surrounding air and tighten his heart. Suddenly, he breathed in cold air, bent over in pain, and felt as if his heart was contracting. How is this possible? Kai Jinheng was surprised. Fen Lin took out the silver needle and snared in his heart. Of course it's possible. Because he pressed it, it hurt. Silver needles in the wrist can stimulate several pain-sensitive nerves around the heart. No matter who pushes it, it's the same. Kai Jinheng finally became frightened and his expression became ugly. I won't ask anything else. I just ask you if it can be cured. It can be cured, but you definitely don't agree. Fen Lin spread his hands helplessly. What do you mean? Kai Jinheng narrowed his eyes. I need to sort out all the meridians of your entire body. You need to be naked before I can do anything. Fen Lin shook his head and continued lying. How dare I touch a body as noble as mine? Senior. Chapter 527. The Oriole is behind. Fen Lin finally understood his father's good intentions. When he was a child he was opposed to studying medicine. In the end, Fen Cheng cajoled and lied, saying that studying medicine would help him find a wife, so Fen Lin studied reluctantly. Now you finally understand the benefits. You are lying to me. Kai Jinheng pointed to Fen Lin. I am a doctor, and a doctor has the heart of a father. You are like a doctor in my eyes. How could I lie to you? Fen Lin shrugged helplessly. I knew that the senior was dead, but don't worry, you can live for at least a year. 1 year. Kai Jinheng would never agree. He would lead the Jia tribe to take revenge on the descendants of Yan and Guang in China. How could he achieve something so big in 1 year? How long will your treatment last? Kai Jinheng continued to ask. You have been injured for many years. If you want to treat it, it will take at least half a year. Fen Lin said solemnly. In fact, if her meridians are distorted and she really needs to be treated with all her might, it will only take half a month. But Fen Lin is not a fool. The longer the treatment lasts, the safer he will be. During treatment, she even had to listen to herself. Of course, the main thing. Fen Lin was also able to carefully study whether the back of the armor was empty. Can it be completely cured in half a year? Kai Jinheng frowned. I'm afraid that the meridians are fixed and it will relapse, but under normal circumstances, it can definitely be cured. Fen Lin was sure. Okay. I agree. Kai Jinheng didn't want to die within a year. He asked many people about his injury, but nothing could be done. In fact, there are some powerful races with excellent medical skills. But as the empress of the Jia tribe, how could she bend them? Even if people knew that she had hidden injuries, someone would come to kill her. Now, we can only count on Fen Lin. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin and said, come with me. I will let you come back in half a year. No. It's not that we need treatment every day. Every time we receive treatment, we have to recover. I still have a wife and children at home. Fen Lin flatly refused. Believe it or not, I will kill you. Kai Jinheng said with a gloomy face. Kill me. I didn't want to cure you in the first place. Fen Lin pursed his lips. You're the kind of person who can't keep his word at first sight. If I cure you, you won't. Just don't be grateful, but you can even let me die. Kai Jin-young looked a little surprised, but that was actually her plan. A humble descendant of Yan and Huang. He looked at her body and even touched her. Kill him afterwards and it will be over. Unexpectedly, Fen Lin also thought of this. I won't kill you. As for the treatment, I will listen to you. Kai Jin-young looked at Fen Lin expressionlessly. Okay. I want to go back first. Let's leave a phone number and you can decide the treatment location. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone. I don't have a phone. I think this thing made up by you humans is dirty. Kai Jin-young looked cold. I'll clean it up, Fen Lin cursed secretly, this woman is too pretentious. During the treatment, be sure to teach her a lesson. Kai Jin-young took out a black iron token with an address. When you finish your work, go to this address to find me. I'll give you 5 days. If you don't come, you will be responsible for the consequences. After Kai Jin-young finished speaking, he disappeared. Fen Lin finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, he had nothing to lose. Anyway, he planned to give the God Eye to Zhang Yu. The land of the 9 netherworlds, the formation was broken, and countless masters fought against Tong Xiaoluo. It turns out that Tong Xiaoluo also entered the Dakan realm. But he alone, in the face of so many masters, was finally outnumbered. It is not worth mentioning at all this formation alone almost killed them, unlike those competing for the treasure. After Liu Nian recovered, he went to the second sect palace. The black ice around Liu Yang's body. Yungan has melted. But he was originally a middle-aged man, but now his body is extremely old. His muscles were flabby and he was completely skinny. Liu Nian, the formation is broken, take me in and escape. Liang Yungan said intermittently. When Liu Nian saw this scene, he shook his head slightly. She still felt very uncomfortable when she asked Zhang Yu to take the God Eye from her. But seeing Liang Yungan's experience, she felt much more comfortable. If you use the Eye of God, you will have a fatal weakness. Once the Eye of the Divine Tower breaks away, it will be beyond redemption. Liu Nian, and hurry up. Liang Yungan's voice was extremely hoarse. Haha, said Master, you probably didn't expect this to happen, right? Liu Nian showed a bright smile and squatted in front of Liang Yungan. You and Itsui, I will cut you into pieces to commemorate the heroic souls of my Liu family. Liu Nian's gentle face had a cruel smile. The first sect. Tong Jiang looked at his dead father with a bit of madness in his eyes. He never thought that things would develop like this. His idea was to get the Eye of God and then marry a harem of 3,000 people. But this idea is just a dream. Double-Shao. You fool me, wow. As soon as Tong Yong finished speaking, a blood hole appeared between his eyebrows. Double-Shao looked at him calmly and disappeared. After rushing out of the ruins, Double-Shao clutched the ring in his hand and muttered to himself. With Zen Wunman here, the God Eye Tower should not be able to do anything. It is enough to grab Tong Xiaoluo's ring. Master. Li Zhen with a wheelchair in one hand, he walked out of the forest. Uncle Li, I don't need the wheelchair anymore, let's go. After saying this, Double Pa Zhao jumped into the sea. Boom. Suddenly, the sea caused huge waves. A wave of terror spread everywhere. The trees on the island swayed violently and some were uprooted. Double-Xi's expression changed and she immediately retreated to the island. Looking at the man appearing on the edge of the island, Double-Xiao looked indifferent. Zhang Zhu walked over with the can of beer and smiled. It seems that Mr. W has grabbed the treasure. The Zhang family is in fact the Crouching Tiger, the Hidden Dragon, and you're also in the Dakan realm. W's eyes narrowed to a thin line. Li Zhen next to him looked surprised. Obviously, Zhang Zhu was just a member of the Legion. Secretive and not outstanding. I didn't expect it to be so deeply hidden. It is definitely not comparable to Mr. W. I received the news and Zhang sent 3 more people. They will be here soon. Zhang Zhu smiled and took a sip of beer. Although I can't beat Mr. W, I should be able to hold you back for a few minutes. What do you want to do? Double-Xia smiled and raised her left hand, grabbing the bandage on his right hand. When we meet, we will share half. Zhang Zhu smiled. You are an interesting person. Double-Xiao's hand loosened the bandage and smiled. I agree. Fen Lin had already met Men Cheng Sheng Sequanjin. What the hell? Young man, are you going to risk your life? Men Cheng Sheng looked at Fen Lin in shock. Sequanjin's face on the side also seemed a little solemn. Fen Lin must have crossed a large stage. He lowered his head and squeezed the fist gradually, can no longer be left to waste. If he couldn't catch up with Fen Lin, he doesn't like this. Second Master and Fourth Master, let's go quickly, Fen Lin said hurriedly. Chapter 528 Two Factions of the Jili Tribe. Fen Lin put on the mask prepared by Sequanjin again and left with the 2 of them. The country should take action regarding the 9 Netherlands. The three of them took a plane and returned to Yan City. When we got here, it was already getting dark. Several people arrived at Yishin's villa and Fen Lin took out the loot. There are 2 space rings in total. One of them belongs to Liang Yingyan and the other belongs to Long Weisheng. He smiled and took out everything that was inside. The living room floor was covered in bottles and cans. There are also techniques, heavenly materials, earthly treasures, everything you need. 4 guys, take this and take it when you reach peak penetration. Men Changshan pointed to a blue pill. Okay. Sikong Jin was not polite. Yeah, the ice heart grass is at least 30 years old. I didn't expect there to be such a treasure. Fen Lin held a piece of frozen bluegrass and was full of surprise. The power it contains is stronger than the previous fire lotus. This time all things are good and can improve your cultivation. Men Changshan took a gentle look and said, I really envy Zhang and the others. These things are their inheritance. Finally, Fen Lin and Men Changshan were roughly ranked. He gave Sikong Jin something he could use, and Fen Lin also took something for himself. Let Men Changshan pretend to do the rest. He especially left many treasures for Abjin Guji. After all, Fen Lin had given all appeals to improve his cultivation to Lao Si. I want to go out and practice. After Sikong Jin put in all the elixirs, he said to Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked at Sikong Jin and said with a smile, okay, be careful second master, I'm leaving. After Sikong Jin finished speaking, he left the villa. Haha, you may have hit him. Men Changshan looked at Sikong Jin's disappearing back and shook his head slightly. Fen Lin didn't say anything, he knew Sikong Jin very well. He was not surprised, but he was afraid that his level was too low to be able to help. Second master, I met several foreigners this time. Fen Lin roughly told the story of his meeting with Zook and Lu Yao. If we talk about the Ghost Loot family, then they should be from the Alliance, Men Changshan explained on the side. Alliance. Fen Lin had never heard of her. Then there is such an organization. Fen Lin touched his chin. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something. Second master, I also met a woman from the Jili tribe. She took away the god I have tamed. The other party has given you face by not killing you. Men Changshan smiled and took out the folded wheelchair from the space ring. Gather in front of you. He sat on it and explained with a smile. The Jili people are descendants of Caillou and has deep hatred. Fen Lin nodded secretly, actually regarding these things. The 2 emperors of Yan and Wei fought with Caillou. Fighting for territory, Caillou lost in the end. It is normal for them to have hatred in the heart. The people of the Jili tribe are very arrogant and have never formed alliances. They are now divided into 2 factions. The Empress is not general. The Jili tribe she leads follows a step-by-step approach and develops cautiously. She is more threatening than the leader of the army. Men Changshan suddenly lowered his head and saw holding his broken leg. As for the diehards of the Jili tribe, they are just a purely murderous organization. Mata. Looking for death. Fen Lin gradually clenched his fists, not knowing which faction Kai Lin belonged to. Men Changshan smiled bitterly, the master soldier cut off my leg. What? Fen Lin's eyes gradually turned cold. The country seeks out the Jili people because their purpose is not to rule the world. Men Changshan lit his pipe, took a drag, and said, you'd better stay away from them. Yes. Fen Lin nodded lightly, but has now been Kai Jinyoung's target. She must go there. It's time to explore the situation. Anyway, she will definitely not let herself die before she is cured. Fen Lin left the villa and called Zhuang after a long time. Zhuang answered the phone. Honey, I didn't expect it to end so soon. You can come back, Fen Lin said on the phone. We want to stay here for a few days. Everyone here is talented, has a lot of fighting skills and speaks well. I really like it here. Zhuang's voice was heard. Okay, Fen Lin nodded. Under the Peony Flower was once a murderous organization, especially when it came to the fighting skills of the women. There should be a different interpretation. There is nothing wrong with letting some of them learn. This night, Fen Lin slept in Zhuang's villa. The little fox is also not here because he feels unpopular. Second master across the street, Fen Lin could rest easy and sleep soundly. The next day Fen Lin went to Men Changshan to greet him and prepared to leave. In the black token, there are only 3 directions. Sankin, Kang City, Boon Hotel. Last night, Fen Lin searched on his mobile phone and found that there was indeed this hotel in Kang City. He took a taxi and bought a high-speed train ticket to Kanjixi. To Kim. Fen Lin did not stay long and followed the map to find this prosperous hotel. The hotel appears to be a good size, standing 20 stories high. Fen Lin walked in and approached the reception. Hello. The person at the reception was a girl who wore glasses and looked like she had just graduated from university. I'm looking for someone. Fen Lin placed the black token in front of the girl. When the girl saw the token, her face was startled and she said respectfully, "Please wait a moment." He picked up the landline, dialed a number, and said into the phone, "The person has arrived." He hung up the phone and handed the token to Fen Lin respectfully. "How long does it take to come here?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. "A few minutes." The girl smiled. After a while, a young man with short white hair walked in with an indifferent expression. He is tall, wears short sleeves with flowers and looks like a gangster. However, this person possesses the strength of the mid-stage divine ability. "Brother Lee, this is it." The glasses girl pointed at Fen Lin and smiled. "Follow me." The white-haired youth pointed at Fen Lin and shouted, "Who do you think you are? If you ask me to go with you, will I go with you?" Fen Lin frowned slightly. He was obviously a doctor and was here to treat diseases. Is it possible that this adult woman wants to give herself some power? "How dare you call me in front of me?" Li King shouted loudly and reached out to grab Fen Lin. Fen Lin quickly moved out of the way and kicked him in the stomach. "Let your boss come see me." "Coward, how dare you kick me?" Li King held his stomach and took a few steps back, his eyes full of killing intent. Chapter 529 If you can't heal, you'll be killed. Li King is very unhappy today. For an ordinary Anhuang man, the key is to be a man. In fact, the Empress invited him to the palace. As a member of the Jili tribe, he had never had such an honor. "I'll kill you." Li King's eyes were filled with jealousy. "Stop." At this moment, a tall woman with short black hair walked in from outside the door. He looked to be about 30 or 40 years old. The forces reached the penetration level. When Li King saw this woman coming in, he could only lower his hand. "Don't be familiar with him. Please come with me." The woman smiled slightly at Fen Lin. "I'm not leaving." Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and said calmly, "Let your boss pick me up in person." "Brat. Do you want to die?" Li King was furious and yelled at him. "Fen Lin. Out of here." The woman looked at Li King coldly. "Brat, and you are dead." Li King glanced at Fen Lin, then turned and left. "Hello, my name is Lin Feng. Our boss is having difficulty moving today, so please be condescending to me." Lin Feng lowered his head towards Fen Lin. "You have a good attitude. I'll give you some face." Fen Lin walked out with a calm expression. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and quickly followed her. There was a black BMW V10-7 parked outside. Lin Feng walked a few steps faster, approached Fen Lin, and took the initiative to open the door. Fen Lin was sitting in the back seat and found Li King sitting in the driver's seat. "Boy. I'll see your boss later and ask you to kneel in front of me." Fen Lin pursed his lips. "Let's go." Li Feng sat in the passenger seat and said to Li King. Li King coldly glanced at Fen Lin through the rear-view mirror and then drove away. They headed east to Kim. On the outskirts there's a huge farm. The car drove in and parked directly in front of the villa inside the mansion. "Please get out of the car." Li Feng turned around and smiled at Fen Lin. Fen Lin nodded and followed him, closing his eyes and feeling him carefully. "I found that, except for the two of them, the rest of the people here were ordinary people. Follow me." Li Feng looked at Fen Lin and took Fen Lin into the villa. The layout of the villa is relatively popular and is not much different from that of a normal villa. Li Feng entered the side room. In the floor of this room there's a 1.5 square meter hole. Li Feng looked at Fen Lin and jumped. Fen Lin stood on the edge and looked down. The inside was completely dark and I couldn't see anything. He jumped and, after falling about 20 meters, stopped on the ground. Looking around, everything here is full of black tones. The terrain, the nearby buildings, and the tall tower in the distance are all black. "Our boss is in the tower, I won't go." After finishing speaking, Li Feng jumped up. Fen Lin closed his eyes, carefully felt the atmosphere around him, and found that there was no one else. He originally thought that he would enter the Jili tribe base camp. It seems that this woman is not a fool either. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked deeper. Finally reaching the gate of the black tower, Fen Lin walked straight in without stopping. Suddenly, Fen Lin felt two auras. But the aura was very strange, and when he looked closer, his eyes almost popped out. Actually, there are two pandas here. They were leaning on the rocks and nibbling on the bamboo. Noticing Fen Lin approaching, one of the pandas let out a low growl at Fen Lin. He suddenly ran towards him. Fen Lin raised his eyebrows in surprise. The panda also had energy in its body. And it is very powerful. "Stop." At this moment, a cold voice came from a distance. The panda, which was about to attack, immediately stopped. Fen Lin looked at Kai Jinyoung walking in the dark. He took off his previous battle armor and was now wearing a white robe. You can clearly see the scar as deep as an abyss. I'll clean it up. Fen Lin couldn't help swallowing. It seemed that the back of the armor was not empty, but the real deal. Fen Lin usually likes to understand everything, but today he met his opponent. He lowered his head and looked at his palm, seemingly unable to grasp it. Follow me. Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin calmly, then turned and left. Her long silver hair fell to the ground. Fen Lin looked at the panda next to him and followed with a smile. Did you steal this? This is illegal. You descendants of Yan Huang are the thieves. The panda was once the mount of our ancestors. Kai Jinyoung leading the way with a calm expression. Sister, my name is Fen Lin. Fen Lin took a few steps faster and kept up with Kai Jinyoung. Don't call me sister. A despicable creature like you is not qualified, Kai Jinyoung said calmly. Then what should I call you? Fen Lin asked. You can call me Empress. Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin. Fen Lin was secretly surprised. It turned out that this person was the Empress mentioned by the second master. His mind was racing. Can I kill her during treatment? Fen Lin thought about it for a long time, but there was no way. The strength gap is too big, so it can only take our time. At this time, they arrived at the back of the Black Tower, where there was a green grassland. It seems much more comfortable. Okay, let's deal with it here. Kai Jinyoung stopped and looked at Fen Lin. Fen Lin rubbed his hands, preparing to treat him a little first. At least Kai Jinyoung watched his body slowly recover. They both stood there stupidly, looking at you and me. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. What are you doing standing there? Take off your clothes. You, Kai Jinyoung's face was very ugly. He never thought he would see his body first. It turned out to be a humble Yan Huang person. Fen Lin. Suddenly, Kai Jinyoung's eyes lit up and he shouted. What's wrong? Fen Lin asked. You should be my dog. Anyway, you descendants of Yan and Huang are not human beings in our eyes. We, the Jia clan, were the real humans, Kai Jinyoung said calmly. Being looked at or even touched by a pet does not cause as much psychological pressure. Were you dreaming? Is there any cure? Fen Lin said helplessly. If you can't heal, I will kill you. Kai Jinyoung gritted his teeth, opened his white robe, and lay down on the grass. Sister, I mean, what model do you have, damn? Before Fen Lin could finish his words, his body suddenly shook violently and he was thrown into the sky. After a long time, Fen Lin fell. He put his hands on his stomach and the blow he had just received made his body feel like it was about to explode. Fen Lin. If you are rude to me again, my tongue will be torn out. Kai Jinyoung said coldly. Sister, Chinese medicine pays attention to seeing, hearing and asking is a very important part. Fen Lin began to lie. I need to judge the thickness of the model to accurately stimulate the acupuncture points, said Kai Jinyoung. Sternly. I don't know. What are your human standards? I don't bother using it. Then I can only feel it myself and start treatment. Fen Lin took out the silver needle and the dark red key burned the silver needle until it turned red. He decided to relax Kai Jinyoung first and then treat him a little, as long as it was effective. P.S. Fen Lin can't grasp it, and I don't know who else can grasp it. Chapter 530 Teacher Fen teaches you a lesson. Fen Lin treated him for more than 10 minutes. He took back the silver needle. In fact, he could still treat it for a few hours. But his own body was a little unbearable. Okay, Fen Lin stood up and said. Do not go. After Kai Jinyoung finished speaking, the figure disappeared here. Fen Lin looked at his palms in a daze. Just now, he used silver needles to relax the opponent's body, pricking many acupuncture points. In the future, if other acupoints are stabbed for a sneak attack, he probably won't be able to react. Kai Jinyoung put on his usual armor in the room at the top of the Black Tower. He covered his face, which was very hot. What happened now? Why is my body so relaxed? Kai Jinyoung had never been so happy. It felt like a nerve that had been tense suddenly relaxed. Only this time he liked the feeling. Business is important. Kai Jinyoung closed his eyes and black smoke appeared behind his shoulders. The smoke gradually turned into black wings. Call. Kai Jinyoung flapped his wings, flew out of the window, and landed on the huge wings on the side of the tower. To transform into a feather requires a large amount of ki. Normally, just 1 minute of flying at full power would cause severe pain in his heart. This time he saw if it had any effect. Oh. He flapped his 2 black wings and flew high speed in the sky. Fen Lin also noticed Kai Jinyoung high above and his heart was in an uproar. Didn't you expect this bitch could fly? However, I remember that Caillou is not only the chief of the Jia tribe, but also the leader of the Ox Totem and Bird Totem tribes. According to rumors, Caillou also had wings. High in the sky, Kai Jin-hyun became more and more scared. He had been flying at maximum power for a minute and a half and was still fine. Finally, at the 2-minute mark, a familiar feeling washed over me. He immediately regained his strength and fell from above. This Fen Lin really is a skill. In fact, it doubled its duration. It seems that he doesn't imply and is actually capable of healing himself. Fen Lin, it has a little effect. Kai Jin-hyun stood with his hands behind his back and said condescendingly, when will the next treatment be? Tomorrow. Fen Lin planned to stay here for a day to see if he could obtain any useful information. There will be another treatment tomorrow, and I will continue to come in half a month. All right. Kai Jin-hyun nodded and then disappeared. Fen Lin also put his hands in his trouser pockets and wandered around here. He looked at the tall tower, which was almost 100 meters high. But there are only 3 floors. He jumped to the second-floor window. This is a library, with many books in the distance. Get out, who let you in? Kai Jin-hyun's voice came from behind Fen Lin, you can only move on the first floor. I am your doctor, be polite to me. Fen Lin was cold. He snorted and jumped after saying that. You're a mere descendant of Yan and Wang, do you know who you are talking to? Kai Jin-hyun followed Fen Lin, pointed at him, and shouted coldly. If I don't kill you, it is already a great gift for you. Ha, that's it. You will never find a man with your temperament. Fen Lin said as he lay cross-legged on the grass. Man. It will only affect the speed of my cultivation. How many sky-proud women have become ordinary people after giving birth to children? Kai Jin-hyun stood in front of Fen Lin with an arrogant tone. Isn't it okay if we don't have children? Fen Lin rolled his eyes. How can you get married without having children? Kai Jin-hyun said calmly. Don't those dink families have children? Fen Lin asked. What dink? I don't understand. You said you don't have children. Is there a problem with your health? Kai Jin-hyun also seemed a little confused. No, Yui Fen Lin felt that she didn't understand anything, so he asked, do you know how a child is born? Of course you do. As long as you marry her and sleep with her. As a man, the child will be alone in the mother's womb. It grows inside, Kai Jin-hyun explained seriously. I'll clean it up. Fen Lin rolled his eyes, it seemed like he really didn't understand. However, Fen Lin also understood it. The other party is an empress and basically has no friends. Added to the lack of information, he does not use his mobile phone and cannot obtain information from it. Of course I don't know. I don't know how many people first learned of this knowledge through their friends. Then it's books or the internet. Kai Jin-hyun did not have the channels to obtain this. Ha ha ha. Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. Although this empress was very crazy, she didn't expect to be so stupid. Why are you laughing? Kai Jin-hyun looked at Fen Lin coldly. Fen Lin touched his nose and said, idiot, you don't even know how to have a child. You are so presumptuous. Kai Jin-hyun extended his hand towards Fen Lin. A terrible pressure swept through Fen Lin's body instantly. Stop. I'm stupid. Fen Lin quickly raised his hands in surrender. HNPH. Kai Jin-hyun waved his hand and asked coldly, tell me. How can I give birth? She really didn't know. Regarding these things, everything is based on my own conjecture. This, I'm not ashamed. Fen Lin, a thick-skinned person, suddenly blushed. The key to popularizing this knowledge among others is the empress. Something feels wrong. Just say what I tell you. Kai Jin-hyun pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. Fen Lin was about to explain, but suddenly remembered that there were several movies hidden in the private space of his mobile phone. He took out his mobile phone and opened one at random. Come, Teacher Fen will give you a lesson today. Fen Lin greeted Kai Jin-hyun. Kai Jin-hyun came behind Fen Lin, looked at the person on the phone, and suddenly said in shock, what kind of formation is this? It actually imprisoned people. Isn't that right? How close is your news? Fen Lin went out first and took a short video of Kai Jin-hyun with his cell phone. Show it to him and explain the principle roughly. That's it. Kai Jin-hyun nodded. Continue with the scene just now. Okay. Fen Lin opened it again. Fast forward directly and then explain it to Kai Jin-hyun. After. For some reason, Kai Jin-hyun felt his heart beat faster and his skin felt hot. But she has a noble status and strives to maintain a noble image. Your face is so red. Fen Lin raised his head and smiled. Get out. Kai Jin-hyun roared. Fen Lin's body was shaken violently, flying backwards like a cannonball. Kai Jin-hyun covered his face and immediately jumped to the top of the tower. Fen Lin opened his arms in the air, flames burning on his body. Oh! In an instant, Fen Lin's body appeared on the ground. As for the burning man, he was still flying upside down. Fen Lin touched his nose. He had clearly tempered his realm and there was no room for resistance in front of this person. Unfortunately, he is still too weak. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked towards the tower. At this time, Kai Jinhyung fell from the tower again and said to Fen Lin, "Stay here and don't move." After saying that, he walked towards the tower. Entrance location. Kai Ling's figure appeared among the ruins. Chapter 531. I am skeptical about your loyalty. Inside the tower, Kai Lin looked at the armored woman in front of him and knelt respectfully on the ground. "Empress. Didn't I tell you before? If there's nothing important, don't bother me." Kai Jinhyung looked at Kai Lin calmly. This time it was Depicted who asked me to report. He said that the land of Jia could no longer become a climate. One of the eyes of the divine tower was snatched by Wu Jian, and the other was snatched by a man called Fen Lin, Kai Lin said, taking out a piece of paper from her body. There were photographs of Fen Lin, as well as information about Fen Lin. Kai Lin knew that Kai Jinhyung didn't like using mobile phones, so she prepared this specially. Kai Jinhyung waved his hand gently in the paper and Kai Lin's hand flew out and landed on his palm. Furthermore, Depicted carefully searched for the land of Jiao and did not see the so-called god of Jiao. How could these despicable human clans find the Jiao clan? Kai Jinhyung looked at Fen Lin's information and said lightly, "I heard that you have a good relationship with this Fen Lin. Empress. Where did this come from? Speaking of which." Kai Lin looked scared. "He and I are enemies. But I heard that you are Fen Lin's wife and have children." Kai Jinhyung put away the paper and looked at Kai Lin. Farth. After Kai Lin finished speaking, he immediately covered his mouth, lowered his head and said, "Please forgive my vulgar language, but I really have nothing to do with him." Kai Jinhyung nodded. Fen Lin should save grudge against her, say that on purpose. "You can go now," Kai Jinhyung said calmly. "Yes." After Kai Lin finished speaking, he got up and left until Kai Jinhyung turned around. He saw Kai Lin disappear. "Come out." Fen Lin walked out from behind the pillar in the distance. He was secretly shocked and was almost sure now even if he hides all his aura, Kai Jinhyung can still detect it. "Yee. You don't seem to like Kai Lin." Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and walked over with a smile. This woman has far-reaching intentions. He was once a soldier of the military leader Li Henshin. Kai Jinhyung turned around and said, "I am skeptical about his loyalty." Fen Lin suddenly realized what the second master had said before, that the military leader he was a member of another organization of the Jia tribe. That is, the radicals. They are both from the Jia tribe, aren't they friends? Fen Lin asked with a smile, just in time to ask about this news. "No, the Jia tribe can only have one king." "What do you think my relationship with him is?" Kai Jinhyung did not want to say more about this matter, so he turned around and left. Fen Lin looked at Kai Jinhyung's back and continued to ask, "What is the Jia clan? What did you just mention?" "Be my dog and I will tell you." Kai Jinhyung stopped and continued after speaking. He walked away. Fen Lin froze on the spot and talked about dogs. He thought of a dog eating a dog. It is a good strategy to find a way for Kai Jinhyung and Li Henshin to fight and consume each other. There was nothing to entertain themselves here, so Fen Lin came to the panda here. Roar. Fen Lin roared at him, "Call me Nama." Fen Lin jumped onto the panda's back and hugged its head with both hands. Humph. Roar. Another panda who was eating bamboo roared at Fen Lin when he saw this. He ran quickly, jumped up suddenly, and rushed towards Fen Lin, grabbing him. Fen Lin raised his fist and looked at him. Boom. A loud noise was heard. The panda turned and fell to the ground. "Good boy, this strength has reached the realm of penetration." Fen Lin shook his hand, jumped up and took a few steps back. "Come on, I'm bored anyway, let's play with you." Fen Lin had already fought with the panda for a couple of hours. Finally he completely subdued them. Now, when the two pandas saw Fen Lin, they were so scared that they hugged the bamboo and turned their heads. At dusk, Li Feng came in with a lunchbox. He walked through the black tower and headed towards the grass behind, leaving his lunchbox on the stone table to the side. "Take out all the food inside." Fen Lin took a quick look and found that there was a mixture of meat and vegetables. "Sister, do you have mine?" Fen Lin walked over with a smile. "No, what's your problem when the Empress is eating?" "You will accompany me to eat out later." As Li Feng spoke, he noticed Kai Jinhyung falling from a high place. He immediately knelt on one knee. "Empress. Get up." Kai Jinhyung greeted Li Feng. "You can go." "Yeah." Li Feng gently lowered Fen Lin's sleeve. "No, you can eat here." Kai Jinhyung saw him and reminded him calmly. "Yes." Li Feng's heart stirred huge waves. What happened to this man? Could it be that he is from the Jia tribe? Like him, she also dyed her hair black and wore black contact lenses. However, even from the Jili tribe, the Empress does not allow men to enter the place where she lives. However, this kind of thing is not something she can ask. She nodded slightly and left. Kai Jinheng sat at the stone table and picked up his chopsticks. Fen Lin sat opposite Kai Jinheng, smiled and rubbed his hands, then stopped smiling. I don't have chopsticks. Who told you to sit down? Kai Jinheng suddenly looked coldly at Fen Lin. I'll clean it up. Didn't you tell me to eat here? Fen Lin asked. I didn't ask you to sit down, so you can't sit down. Kai Jinheng's eyes narrowed and Fen Lin's body flew backwards. You, Fen Lin in the distance nodded vigorously. Very well, during tomorrow's treatment I will give you 20 more strokes. Kai Jinheng took a chicken leg, took a few bites, and then handed it to Fen Lin. Here Fen Lin looked at the half-eaten chicken leg and did not reach out to pick it up. Don't you want to eat? Kai Jinheng asked in surprise. I want to make sure of one thing. What do you think about when you feed your pet? Fen Lin asked expressionlessly. Are you feeding your pet or your boyfriend? After all, many women feed their pets. First, take a few bites yourself, and then let the pet eat. When I have a boyfriend, I also eat a few bites first and then let my boyfriend take care of it. Haha, Kai Jinheng suddenly laughed. What do you think? I won't eat it. Fen Lin said lightly. I'll count to 3. If you don't eat, I'll stuff it into you. Kai Jinheng said coldly. Are you sure you have saliva? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Kai Jinheng looked stunned and asked in confusion. What's wrong with the saliva? How dare you look down on me for being so despicable? Fen Lin looked a little embarrassed. It seemed like it was about things between men and women in the outside world. She does not understand anything. 3 seconds have passed. Kai Jinheng grabbed it out of nowhere. Fen Lin uncontrollably approached Kai Jinheng. He grabbed Fen Lin by the back of his neck and let him lie on his lap. Fen Lin's eyes were immediately blinded by the armor. Shit. Who asked you to wear armor? Fen Lin cursed secretly, feeling unhappy at all. This facial cleanser is very annoying. Chapter 532 The person who holds a grudge. Fen Lin finally ate the chicken lips. I must say it tastes pretty good. Sister, don't you feel uncomfortable wearing armor? Fen Lin separated from Kai Jinheng's body and said helplessly. It's not uncomfortable. Kai Jinheng began to eat with his head down again. Fen Lin was too lazy to talk to her and continued playing with the panda. This woman may be a little stupid in some common sense of life, but he is definitely a smart person when it comes to important things. It is almost impossible to get information out of him. When the sky completely darkened, Fen Lin rode a panda and approached the grassland. Kai Jinheng had already climbed to the top of the tower. Fen Lin was lying on the grass with his head resting on a panda. The night passed. Early the next morning, Kai Jinheng put on a white robe and descended from a high place. Fen Lin also rubbed his eyes and prepared to leave early. When will the treatment be given? Kai Jinheng walked over and asked. Now Fen Lin stood up from the grass. All right. Kai Jinheng didn't have anyone to teach him since he was a child, and he didn't have the kind of environment around him. So in terms of personality, she is not as shy as other women. After the previous experience, Fen Lin was able to heal. He lay down directly on the ground and opened his clothes. Fen Lin continued to treat her, but he was a very vindictive person. What happened yesterday should also teach you a lesson. The next step is a critical moment. I may faint at any time. Please give me a warning. Fen Lin looked solemn, then, holding the silver needle in his hand, he began to mobilize the 2 ki in his body. Enter withdrawal mode. However, ki was not released. Just hitting each other inside their bodies. What's wrong with you? Kai Jinheng sensed Fen Lin's situation and asked in a deep voice. This is my secret skill. It is called ice and fire double needle. After the collision, Fen Lin began to sweat on his forehead. He felt that he was almost ready. Suddenly, Fen Lin leaned forward and slammed her head directly into him. Due to the shock absorber, Fen Lin bounced 4 times before stopping. Kai Jinheng's cheeks were hot and he was about to fight Fen Lin. Fen Lin said seriously. Don't worry, I can still hold on. He continued to mobilize the strength in his body, finally straightening up and dropping a needle. Ugh. It's over. Fen Lin took the silver needle and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Oh, this needle is too big. No, it's too difficult, but that's it. Kai Jinheng immediately stood up and disappeared. Here. Just like yesterday, after putting on his battle armor, he flew high into the sky with all his strength. This time, it took about 30 or 40 seconds. This is already pretty good. He landed next to Fen Lin and asked calmly, Are you okay? Okay, I keep my word. Fen Lin took a deep breath. I'll be back in about 20 days to start the second course of treatment. Okay. Kai Jinyoung nodded. I'm leaving. Fen Lin pierced all the silver needles on his belt, turned around and left. Kai Jinyoung stood with his hands behind his back, looking at Fen Lin's figure as it disappeared into his red eyes. Fen Lin jumped out of the ruins and stretched helplessly. This time there was almost no substantial progress. However, he thought that the relationship between Kai Jinyoung and Li Hinshan could be exploited. Come to the patio. Fen Lin found Li King having breakfast in the courtyard. When the other party heard someone come out, he looked back. Boy. What did you do inside? Li King swallowed the bun in his mouth and asked coldly. Despicable thing, who was allowed to stand and talk to me? Fen Lin imitated Kai Jinyoung's mantra and said calmly. You are looking for death. Sister Fang is not here today. Li King's eyes suddenly flashed. Boom. Before he could move, he felt an overwhelming pressure coming from above his body. His body fell to the ground uncontrollably. The ground was sunken into a large human-shaped pit. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked over without any expression. Li King looked at Fen Lin and felt huge waves in his heart. At his age, he could already be considered a genius when he entered the divine orifice realm. But the man in front of him was about the same age as him, but had strength much greater than him. Humble insect, who was allowed to look at me? As soon as Fen Lin finished speaking, Li King's body suffered another heavy blow and his body sank 7 inches. Stop. At the same time, Li Feng ran quickly from a distance. In his hand he held a lunchbox. Sir, please forgive me. Li King is the most loyal guard of the Empress. For the sake of the Empress, forgive him this time. Li Feng was surprised. No wonder Fen Lin was able to spend the night in the Empress's palace. Unexpectedly, at such a young age, his strength already far exceeds hers. In the near future, the person in front of me is destined to be one of the most powerful members of the Jia tribe. For the sake of the Empress, I will spare you this time. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and disappeared in an instant. Seeing Fen Lin leave, the pressure on Li King finally disappeared. He felt like his bones were about to break and stood up with difficulty. Sister Fang, who was this person? He should also be from our Jia tribe. You should be respectful when you see him in the future. Li Feng said in a deep voice. Him. His strength far exceeds mine. What? At this age, he is stronger than Sister Fang. Li King finally understood. But after understanding it, I felt helpless in my heart. Fen Lin arrived at the high-speed train station in Kangship. Just as he was about to buy a ticket to return to Yan City, he received a call. After looking at the number, Fen Lin raised his eyebrows involuntarily. Same month. Turns out she's not dead. Xiao Yu, your life is very lucky. Fen Lin said calmly after answering the phone. I still remember Lan's reminder to Fen Lin that if he was found the same month, there was no need to capture him alive, just kill him directly. Unexpectedly, she was still alive in this state. Brother Fen Lin, I wasn't in the ruins back then. Tong Yu's voice was a little low. Hearing this, Fen Lin raised his eyebrows in surprise. This should not be a sign of fortune, but rather good luck. Xiao Yu, if you give up now, people who believe in the country, Fen Lin, it's me. Before Fen Lin finished speaking, another childish voice came from the other party. Fen Lin naturally knew this voice. Lian eyes. Fen Lin, do you still remember what you promised me? I want to see King Lily right now. Okay, I'll call the higher-ups. Fen Lin was in no hurry to return to Yan City. She sat down on the seat next to him and gave it to him. The old man called. Ji Guangling was extremely happy. Brat. You are really good. We have both got eyes. You're too happy too soon. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. I'm so good at it. The Empress of the Li tribe snatched it away. That. When Ji Guangling heard this, his voice gradually became more solemn. As long as you're alive. We'll talk about this later. Can I leave it? Do the people of the Nine Nethers know King Lily? Fen Lin asked. This time in Jia land, Lian Dai was of great help. If she hadn't raised the formation, Dugalixia would definitely have chased after him. Although he has a large group of younger brothers, if he really wants to fight Dugalixia, Fen Lin will definitely have the advantage. Chapter 533 Lord King Lily. You also know that this woman is very important. We can meet in person, but they can't leave after that, Ji Guangling said there. After all, she is the remnant of the Nine Lowlands. Fen Lin nodded and there was no problem with what the old man said. The people of the Jia Land organization cannot sympathize with them just because they were destroyed. Okay, send me the address first. If she agrees, I will take him there directly. Fen Lin said with a smile. It's okay, we're still at the base of Magic City. After Ji Guangling finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin called Lian Dai again and told him what Ji Guangling said. Lian Dai still insisted on going. Fen Lin did not persuade her and made an appointment to meet her in the Magic City. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fen Lin had just arrived in the capital, and since there was no airport in Kang City, he first took a car to the provincial capital and then bought a plane ticket. After calling Lian Dai, the two met in front of a hotel. What surprised Fen Lin was that the person who was with Lian Dai was from the same month. In the same month, he still had short shoulder-length hair and a cute face with some baby fat. But the wild, unbridled smile on his face was gone. Instead, there was a sad face. Lian Dai hasn't changed much, with twin pigtails, deep dark circles under her eyes, and dark red lips. Exactly the same as before, with a sickly expression on his face. After the two saw Fen Lin, they all quickened their pace and ran to hug Fen Lin's arm. For a moment, everyone passing by looked askance. I was filled with envy. Xiao Yu, I didn't expect you to come too. Fen Lin smiled and rubbed Tuanju's head. Compared with Lian Dai, the probability of dying in the same month is much higher. I'm not afraid of death. Tong Yu raised his face and said. Let's go, I'll take you there. Fen Lin took the hands of the two, one on the left and the other on the right. I will try my best to beg you to save your lives. These two people are geniuses, and their future achievements cannot be underestimated. Limited quantity. It depends on whether the country is willing to give them the opportunity to atone for their crimes. Fen Lin and others took a taxi and arrived outside the city. He hugged them both respectively and ran to the base. The base outside the Magic City. Fen Lin called out to the guardian here, Xiao Wenbo. Xiao Wenbo agreed and lifted King Lily off the ground. Fen Lin took Tong Yu and Lian Dai respectively and walked towards the entrance of the base. Just before the cave entrance, the three of them stopped. After a while, the black door in the distance opened. Xiao Wenbo carried King Lily on crutches. Uncle. You came to see me. King Lily ran over with a smile, looked at the two people next to Fen Lin, and asked strangely, who are they? In the distance, Xiao Wenbo looked at Tong Yu. I had heard about this little witch. Unexpectedly, she also gave up. Fen Lin, can we talk to her alone? Lian Dai looked at Fen Lin. No. Before Fen Lin could speak, Xiao Wenbo in the distance flatly refused. In the same month, this little demon girl was crazy. Who knows if she would kill King Lily? Fen Lin also shrugged helplessly. Say it here, Fen Lin. Thank you and I'm sorry. Lian Dai suddenly pursed his lips and looked at King Lily in front of him. He stretched out his little hand and held King Lily. His big eyes began to tremble violently. Hello, Ani. Buzz. Lian Dai's eyes suddenly turned upward, revealing the marks on his eyes. A chain of dark red light floated from Lian Dai's 7 orifices and merged with King Lily's body. Not good. Fen Lin and Xiao Wenbo were shocked at the same time, secretly thinking that something was wrong. Fen Lin immediately grabbed Lian Dai's neck and flew back. Xiao Wenbo grabbed King Lily and retreated far away. Lian Dai. What did you do? Fen Lin yelled at Lian Dai. But Lian Dai in his hand rolled his eyes and fainted. On the other hand, King Lily covered her head with both hands, her expression very painful. He continued shouting there. Xiao Yu. What happened? Don't lie to me. Fen Lin roared at Tuanju who was in the distance. I'm not too sure. Yesterday Lian Dai came to me and told me that he has the soul of the god of the 9 nethers in his body and that his face is sick due to years of physical stress. Tong Yu's smile was a little crazy. Brother Fen Lin, I'm really not afraid of death. I just came here to see what the legendary god of the 9 netherworlds is. Just an ordinary person. King Lily returned to normal and smiled calmly. Xiao Wenbo on the side narrowed his pupils to points and immediately moved away from King Lily. You lied to me. Fen Lin's eyes were narrowed, showing murderous intent. Man, be more open-minded. You will gain wisdom after every experience. King Lily shook her body slightly and said with a smile. Sure enough, my own body is more comfortable. Who are you? Fen Lin asked in a deep voice. Let's meet again. My name is Mr. King Lily. King Lily put her hands on her hips, looking like a little brat who had succeeded in her plot. Fen Lin frowned and said, You are not King Lily. I am. This body was originally mine. King Lily puffed her lips and pointed at Lian Dai and Fen Lin's arms. Give me that little girl, I'll try. Lao Xia, is the old man here? Fen Lin hugged Lian Dai and backed away little by little. The old man has returned. Xiao Wenbo looked at King Lily solemnly. The old man specifically told me that if you want to take King Lily away by force, let me stop you symbolically and then let you go. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. Guys, who do you think I am? Stop arguing. I'm the protagonist. King Lily's eyes rolled back, revealing those strange patterns. However, the current pattern is like a real eye. Buzz. Fen Lin's body suddenly stiffened, as if being pulled by countless fine threads. His arms opened involuntarily. Lian Dai and his arms fell to the ground. This little girl is pretty good. Kim Lily walked over and helped Lian Dai up. Are you from the Jia tribe? Fen Lin remembered what Kai Jinyoung said before. Uncle, you can do it. You know it. Kim Lily smiled and winked at Fen Lin. The strange pattern made Fen Lin's skin crawl. What about you? Girl, will you come with me? Kim Lily looked at Tong Yu in a distance again. Okay, if you stay, you will die. I don't want to die yet. Tong Yu narrowed her eyes and smiled sweetly. With it said, he rushed towards King Lily. You're a villain. I will kill you in the future. Fen Lin said in a deep voice. Damn, my body and soul are in love with you, so I do the same. Kim Lily shook her head gently. Uncle, do you know about lighthouse jellyfish? Lighthouse jellyfish. Fen Lin and Xia Wenbo were both surprised. This is the only known creature on Earth that can live forever. They can be rejuvenated. It regresses from adult to juvenile and then continues to grow into adulthood. In theory, there is no limit to the number of times. Could it be that the woman in front of me? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 534 Dragon Palace. The habits of our Jia clan are similar to those of the lighthouse jellyfish. We can reproduce asexually, Kim Lily pointed out to himself. This King Lily's physical body was born from me. Fen Lin looked at King Lily, waiting for her next words. Afterwards, my spiritual power will be integrated into my physical body and I will be resurrected again, Kim Lily explained calmly. I will inherit the previous memories, but my mind will be a completely new me. You mean? Fen Lin asked. The popular understanding is that the heinous King Lily of the previous generation is dead, and now there's the new King Lily. Kim Lily shrugged with a smile. Xia Wenbo took a deep breath. I didn't expect that there would be such a race. Tong Ju also opened her mouth in shock. So, your family can live forever like this? Fen Lin asked expressionlessly. Asexual reproduction can lead to immortality, but if we get married and have children, we will live, grow old, get sick and die like ordinary people, Kim Lily said with a smile. Uncle, I'm leaving. There are many secrets in my mind. Now I am humble. I must not be caught. Hun. Kim Lily's eyes flashed with a strange colored light. A huge pattern appeared under my feet. Wow. Kim Lily and Lian Dai disappeared instantly. She's an alchemist. Xia Wenbo's eyes widened in shock. Damn, Lao Xia, did I get into trouble again? Fen Lin touched his nose in embarrassment. Don't ask me, go talk to the old man yourself. Xia Wenbo smiled and shook his head. In fact, he knew that instead of being angry, the old man would be very happy. They already studied King Lily's hair and blood. Apart from being different of humans, nothing substantial can be found. Although King Lily is no longer there, they know the habits and abilities of this race. Fen Lin was helpless and could only call Ji Guangling. Tell him what is going on here. Is it okay to perform one more task? Fen Lin looked helpless. Okay, I really have a mission these days. I'll take the time to tell you. After Ji Guangling finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin looked at the phone and said helplessly. He was going to return home and have a good rest. The busy days had exhausted him physically and mentally. Yangjing. In the courtyard, Dr. Li Xiao was playing Go with Kai Lin. Li Xiao sat far away and played with her mobile phone. Kai Lin, the Empress read the report. What was your reaction? How can you react? She always seems calm. Kai Lin looked at the chess game and said calmly. Haha, maybe Fen Lin's gut eye has fallen into her hands. Dr. Li Xiao smiled. What do you mean? Kai Lin asked while looking at Dr. Li Xiao. The Empress does not trust you and shows indifference in front of you. In fact, privately, he has already sent someone to take action. Doku dropped the sunspot in his hand at dawn. In the distance, Li Zhen, who was looking at his cell phone, raised his head and looked at them. Kai Lin made a long pause before spreading his hands freely and saying, She doesn't trust me. Hey, Long Weisheng of the Long family is dead. Fen Lin should have killed him. Doku Li Xiao looked up at his cheeks and said, This man is also terrible. Then strangled the cradle. Kai Lin smiled and blurted out the white words. Refining the realm is not a cradle. Doku Li Xiao left another black piece. You lose. Did he really moderate it? Kai Lin was so surprised that he stopped smiling. After a while, he surpassed her. However, the Dragon Palace about the Long family probably won't let him go. Doku smiled slightly at dawn. Dragon King. I heard that he used to work for the country, but as his strength increased, he became swollen. As long as someone said something bad about him, he would dare to kill people. Kai Lin had heard of this person, but then he was blocked by the country. But he was so powerful that he established an organization called Dragon Palace. He belongs to a murderous organization. However, this murderous organization is different. They do not take orders from the ordinary people. The only thing they kill are ancient warriors. Rewards never require money, only natural and earthly treasures. According to ancient times, Long Weisheng is the second uncle of the Dragon King. I should be able to find his place, Elixir suddenly said. I'm asking you to come this time. I want you to investigate something. Kai Lin raised her head and watched Dawn. Help me investigate Jiangsu and see if this person has anything to do with the True Humanity organization. Elixir has already investigated. Jiangsu was very careful and barely showed any signs of weakness. The only useful news is that Jiangsu travels to Europe every year. And the place he went to is not far from the Real Human Research Institute. Kai Lin had a relationship with the True Human organization, so he asked him to check it out. Jiangsu King's second son. Kai Lin frowned. Can you see that state? Haha, Dad can't state. Elixir pushed up his glasses. What? At this age, you're in Dakan state. Kai Lin couldn't believe it. In this way, the Zhang family will be really terrible in the future. Actually, his family has 2 Dakan kingdoms. The key is not the guest, but of direct lineage. This person hides so deeply but does nothing for the country. I don't think he is a good person, Elixir said calmly. Okay, I'll check it right away. Kai Lin got up and left. Fen Lin returned to Yun City and slept well. I slept until nightfall and was woken up by a phone call. Fen Lin took the phone and looked at it. It was his father's phone number. He communicated immediately and didn't have time to ask about Lu Yao's matter. Boy, I'll send you an address later. Go and help me see a doctor. I don't have time right now, Fen Chen's voice came from that side. Don't worry yet, I have something to ask you. Isn't that Lu Yao from our human race? Fen Lin asked immediately. Do you know all this? Fen Chen's voice was full of surprise. Oh no. Find me someone from abroad who was barely acceptable. Why don't you give me someone who was not a human being? We won't have reproductive isolation again, right? Fen Lin said helplessly over the phone. It's really difficult, but it's still possible, Fen Chen said there. If you work hard, you will always earn something. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. I suspect you are driving. No, I'm driving a bicycle. Fen Chen smiled and said, we will send you the address immediately. This is my old friend who is seriously injured. Okay. Fen Lin nodded. After hanging up the phone, Feng Can sent the text message with the address. Fen Lin just looked at him casually and got off the bed. In the villa in front, only the second master and some ninjas were left hiding in the attic of the villa. It was already getting dark, so Fen Lin went to prepare some food for them. Arriving at the villa in front, Fen Lin discovered that the second teacher was chatting with someone in the yard. However, after seeing the woman in front of him, Fen Lin's pupil suddenly shrank. She is Yidan, but now she is older than before. He has turned gray. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is 60 years old. Chapter 535. Your chance is over. Mr. Fen Lin, do you still recognize me? Yidan greeted with a smile. You are so relaxed. Fen Lin walked over and leaned on Mencheng Shen's wheelchair. This should be the side effect of separating the gut eye from the body. According to his age, he is only in his 50s now, but he looks like this. You must have a good attitude. Yidan said with a smile. Fen Lin walked over and grabbed her wrist. There was no disease or injury on his body. This shows that she is simply aging in front of her. I will prescribe medicine for you later. Drink a bowl every night before going to bed. Fen Lin let go of Yidan's hand, took out his cell phone, and edited a text message for her. Thank you. Yidan was not polite. It is natural for women to love beauty. Although she pretended not to care, she felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Tonight, Yidan prepared a sumptuous meal himself. Even the attic ninjas have their part. Fen Lin took out some relatively low-level treasures from the space ring and gave them to them. These people have been standing guard here. Although it is useless, it is hard work without any credit. They burst into tears of gratitude when they saw these treasures. These things are out of your reach. Early the next morning, Fen Lin woke up early, cooked 2 eggs and drank some milk. Get ready to go to Yueshi in Zhajiang. This is the address his father sent him yesterday. The key is that there's only this address, and Fen Lin doesn't even know the other party's name. Bought a high-speed train ticket to Yueshi. Arriving at the carriage, Fen Lin's seat was by the window. He stretched out comfortably, looked out the window, and slowly squinted. Before we knew it, the high-speed train began to take off. The trip lasts about 2.5 hours, enough time to relax for a while. Can you put your shoes on? Suddenly, Fen Lin heard a young woman's voice. This voice was right next to him. She looked back and noticed that next to her was a woman with long hair. He is only about 20 years old, has a small oval face and looks very handsome. Wearing a very ordinary floral dress. His eyes were looking across the hall. Fen Lin looked over and found that it was a prim young man wearing casual clothes. Wear earrings in your ears. However, he took off his shoes at that moment and climbed onto the back of the seat in front of him. Especially the smell on my feet is like stinky tofu. I clean it. You little bitch dare to meddle in my affairs. There are so many people who don't say anything, but you're the only one who loves to be clean. Not only did this young man not put on his shoes, he also deliberately stretched his feet over the woman's body. The woman hurriedly backed away and finally sat on Fen Lin's lap. She snorted and quickly apologized to Fen Lin. I'm sorry. All right. Fen Lin waved his hand with a smile, and then said to the young man, put it on, it will have a bad influence. Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? Not only did I take off my shoes, I also took off my socks. While saying this, the prim young man took off his socks. The smell of stinky tofu is even stronger. Many people around were holding their noses. Finally a young man sitting in the front row couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up and pointed at the prim man, put it on for me. You're so crazy, be careful you get hit as soon as the prim man finished speaking, the man sitting with him stood up. He was tall and muscular, with arms full of muscles. His height of 1.9 meters gives people a strong oppressive force and slacked him. Boy, believe it or not, I will kill you. When everyone around saw this man, they were so scared that they fell silent. Look, you're beaten, right? With disdain, and then looked at the woman next to Fen Lin, I'm going to call the police. Song Kyung-wei was not afraid at all. She pointed at the man and shouted. You can scream, anyway I haven't broken the law. Wu Zhongji raised his foot again and faced Song Kyung-wei. Maybe you are going to kiss my foot. As soon as he finished speaking, the strong man walked over and grabbed hold of the back of Song Kyung-wei's head. He pressed his neck and leaned on Wu Zhongji's feet. Let go. Fen Lin suddenly grabbed the strong man's wrist. A powerful force made the strong man pale and he felt like his bones were about to break. She was so scared that she immediately let go of Song Kyung-wei. Boy, don't think I don't know that this man is on the same team as you. Fen Lin stood up, but still held the strong man's wrist. The strong man screamed in pain and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. He is not part of a group, he is simply the lowest servant. Wu Zhongji's expression did not change. Fen Lin let go of the strong man, walked out of his seat and approached Wu Zhongji. Last chance, put it on. Do you know who I am? Do you know who you're talking to? Not only Wu Zhongji, without using it, pointed at Fen Lin and shouted, believe it or not, I can make you disappear with just a phone call. Your chance is over. Fen Lin pointed to the strong man next to him and said calmly, take off your clothes. Ah, okay. The strong man's wrist still hurt terribly. He immediately took off the suit he was wearing and handed it to Fen Lin. Fen Lin covered his hands with his suit, then took the other person's socks and stuffed them directly into his mouth. But can vomit. Wu Zhongji struggled wildly and felt like he was going to vomit. But Fen Lin covered his mouth tightly. Wu! What are you doing so stupidly? Do it. Wu Haji hesitantly shouted at the strong man next to him. But the strong man looked at his bruised wrist and decided to stay still. This person must be a ruthless person. He didn't dare to provoke either. I was wrong. I used it. Wu Haji found that the bodyguard did not dare to move, so he could only beg for mercy, otherwise he would be smoked to death. When Song Kyung-wei heard this, she quickly pulled Fen Lin's arm. Okay, let him go. Fen Lin let go. Wu Zhongji immediately took the socks out of his mouth. Ugh. Ugh. He looked at Fen Lin with a sinister look, lowered his head and put on his socks and shoes. Fen Lin returned to his seat and the surroundings gradually returned to normal. But Wu Zhongji could see from the faces of the others that they were laughing at him. The terminal station of the high-speed train is located in Yueshi. If this child gets off the bus in U City, he will have to pay the price. Thank you, my name is Song Kyung-wei. Song Kyung-wei smiled gratefully at Fen Lin and two cute dimples suddenly appeared. Okay. Fen Lin smiled and looked out the window. Song Kyung-wei scratched her head in surprise. She wasn't ugly either. Why did he ignore me after just one conversation? Well, can we add web chat? Song Kyung-wei smiled and took out her mobile phone. Fen Lin did not refuse and planned to block the other party afterwards. Except for acquaintances, people with Model C or lower are not suitable for having their own friends. Chapter 536 Meeting Dr. Miracle again, U City. After arriving at the destination, Fen Lin got off the car with Song Qiongwei by his side. Wu Zhongji, who was sitting in his seat, had a sneer on his lips. Indeed, we got off here. He immediately followed him and took pictures of Fen Lin's clothes with his mobile phone. As long as he did not leave U City immediately, it would only take a few hours to find him. Fen Lin and Song Qiongwei left the station together and the two went their separate ways. Fen Lin stopped a taxi and handed the address to the driver. The driver's uncle took a look and said in shock, "This is the Wu family in our U City." The Wu family? Is it very powerful? Fen Lin breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that there was no need to look. For them the driver knew them. Of course, the Wu family is a separate existence. Every time the old family owner celebrates his birthday, all the bigwigs in Zhejiang province will come here to congratulate him, the driver explained with a smile. What does your family do? Fen Lin asked. Haha, this is a mystery in our U City. No one knows what they do. The driver started the car and drove there. Fen Lin's expression showed no surprise. In this way, they should be a relatively powerful hidden family. The driver brought Fen Lin to stop at the foot of a large mountain and pointed to the villa on the mountain. This is the Wu family. Thank you. Fen Lin gave the money to Fen Lin, got out of the car and looked at the address on his phone. After confirming that it was correct, he walked towards the door in the distance. Who are you looking for? After seeing Fen Lin, the guard walked over and asked. Hello, my name is Fen Lin. I am a doctor. My father asked me to treat diseases, Fen Lin said with a smile. You can inform them. They should know. For you, doctor. Then, from a naughty car in the distance, a woman wearing red heels came down. She was wearing a lavender skirt and took off her sunglasses after getting out of the car. Fen Lin had discovered the other party a long time ago because she was an ancient warrior. The strength is not strong, only in Jin's middle stage. Not bad. Fen Lin nodded towards the woman. Come with me. Wu Jinfen walked over and led the way in front. The security personnel around them were entered and opened the door. Fen Lin followed the woman to the nearby four-wheel tram. This is a tool for gentle guests to get to the top of the mountain. It's nothing to ancient warriors, but to ordinary people, climbing mountains is physical work. Wu Jinfen sat in the driver's seat, looked at Fen Lin and smiled lightly. I'll take you. Thank you. Fen Lin nodded with a smile and sat next to Wu Jinfen. This woman's age seemed to be a little older than Fen Lin by 2 or 3 years. His hair is slightly wavy, revealing a slightly mature and attractive face. What's your name? You should be younger than me, right? Wu Jinfen asked with a smile. My name is Fen Lin. Although I am young, I am still very confident in treating injuries. Fen Lin crossed his arms, looked at the scenery outside, and said with a smile. Wu Jinfen, who was still smiling at the beginning, suddenly stopped smiling. What did you just say? Am I not old? No, what did you say you were dealing with? Wu Jinfen reminded. Treatment. Treat the injury, Fen Lin replied without thinking. How do you know that my grandfather is injured? He clearly told others that he was sick, Wu Jinfen asked in a deep voice. Oh, this is what my dad told me. He said they were friends, Fen Lin explained. My dad has been very busy recently and didn't have time, so he asked me to come. Wu Jinfen said deeply. He looked at Fen Lin. That said, he may be able to help. The car drove to a villa on the mountainside. Wu Jinfen motioned for Fen Lin to get out of the car. He carried Fen Lin to the villa in the distance. Just when he entered, a middle-aged woman with a perm frowned and said, Wu Jinfen, why are you here again? He came to treat my grandfather's injury. Wu Jinfen pointed out. Fen Lin next to him said, I heard from him that my grandfather and his father were good friends. Do you think I'm stupid? Just this kid? Song Qiu looked at Fen Lin with disdain and then looked at Wu Jinfen coldly. Can you stop trying to show your presence? Get out. Mom, what are you doing? You're so angry. At this moment, a young man with a perm and casual clothes walked out. Fen Lin looked back, somewhat surprised. It turned out to be the young man I met on the high-speed train. Shit. What the hell are you, kid? Wu Zhongji pointed at Fen Lin and roared, come here, arrest me. What are you doing? This is the doctor who treated Grandpa. Wu Jinfen stood in front of him. Fen Lin. What? Wu Zhongji couldn't believe it and immediately focused his eyes on his mother. Son, what happened? Sunday asked. I came back on the high-speed train and this guy hit me on the bus and stuffed his socks into my mouth, Wu Haji said in a sinister tone. You brat, you're looking for death. What should I do if my child gets athlete's foot? Some Q's eyebrows raised. Naturally, she knew that her child had athlete's foot. Athlete's foot is contagious. As soon as she finished speaking, several ancient warriors approached. Destroy this man immediately. Wu Zhongji pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. Yes. One of the middle-aged men walked towards Fen Lin. Wu Jinfen narrowed his eyes slightly and squeezed fist gradually. What's going on? What's this fuss about? At this moment, a middle-aged man arrived from a distance. He was wearing a suit, had his hair cut short, and had a displeased expression on his face. Fen Lin looked at this man and saw husband. This kid is bullying her son. Some Q pointed at Fen Lin and said. Wu Rui frowned and was about to speak. Said. Second uncle, this person is a doctor. Just this kid, I think he can prescribe cold medicine, right? Sun Zhongji shrugged his shoulders jokingly. Anyway, if this kid comes to the Wu family today, it's impossible to leave. Wu Jinfen, do you think that I can hire a good doctor? Wu Rui's expression turned cold. Take him away immediately. My dad is resting and doesn't like to be disturbed. My name is Fen Lin, haven't you heard of this name? Fen Lin asked strangely. I don't care who you are, leave immediately and don't let me tell you to leave. Wu Rui said sharply. I'm here for free treatment, how dare you give me a hard time? Fen Lin turned around without looking back. Dad really let them run without greeting them beforehand. Stop, do you think my Wu family is a place where you can come and go as you please? Wu Zhongji crossed his arms and said indifferently. Let him go and don't cause trouble for the Wu family, Wu Rui said expressionlessly. Hearing this, Wu Zhongji sneered. What his father meant was that it was casual outside. Wu Jinfen immediately followed Fen Lin and shook his head slightly. It seemed like he was still too sentimental. Miraculous Dr. Zhang Kui is here. At this time, a security guard walked in respectfully and said. Behind him, an old man followed. Behind the old man are two women, each with a medical kit. Wu Rui's face lit up and he hurriedly said, Dr. Zhang, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Wu Jinfen, who was at the door, was surprised. It turned out that he had invited Zhang Kui. No wonder he looks down on Fen Lin. Miraculous doctor. Zhang Kui stood with his hands behind his hands and walked in like a master. But he suddenly saw Fen Lin with a surprised expression on his face. In an instant, it came to an abrupt end. Isn't Zhang Kui a miracle doctor? What is the name of the miraculous doctor? Oh, it's you. Fen Lin looked at Zhang Kui lightly. Chapter 537. Listening to is better than 10 years of reading. Zhang Kui, when Fen Lin helped move Shui when she went to her benefactor's hospital for medical treatment. I met this person once. I didn't expect to find myself here. Zhang Kui grabbed Fen Lin's arm with joy on his face. Miracle doctor, we are truly destined. Indeed, we are destined. Fen Lin nodded slightly. Haha, although we have left our contact information, I dare not bother you. Zhang Kui smiled and touched his head. Seeing this scene, everyone present was stunned. Who was Zhang Kui? Everyone present had heard of his name. He is a leading figure in Chinese medicine. A big shot at this level actually called this young man an elder. There is any error. Wu Jinfen could put an apple in his mouth. What's wrong with you? Do you want to leave? Zhang Kui asked doubtfully. People look down on me. Fen Lin shrugged. What? Your old man doesn't like you, so why should he treat you? Zhang Kui turned around and said to the two assistant nurses next to him, let's go. Wu Rui stood there stupidly. He watched helplessly as Zhang Kui followed Fen Lin and they left together. Sir, Mr. Zhang Kui, please wait a moment. Wu Rui immediately followed him and stood in front of the two of them. It's because I'm blind, so I ask you to treat my father. Wu Rui lowered his head at the two of them. Although he is in the divine realm, his father is stronger. The father is the patron saint of the Wu family. If he is no longer there, the Wu family's status among the reclusive families will plummet. Your son wants to paralyze me. My hands are shaking with fear and I can't cure him, Fen Lin said expressionlessly. Wu Haoji, come here and kneel to apologize to this gentleman. Wu Rui turned around and shouted. I. Although Wu Zhongji's face was full of reluctance. But he is not stupid, his grandfather is his guardian. If grandfather is gone, the young masters of the lonely family will not look down on him. Please save my grandfather. Wu Zhongji walked over and knelt on the ground in front of Fen Lin. Fen Lin didn't look at him, but looked at Wu Rui. Where is it? Take us there. After all, this is what his father told him to do, so we must give it to him. Okay, please follow me. Wu Rui's face lit up and he immediately led the way. Fen Lin looked at Zhang Kui next to him and said, come here too. Okay, Zhang Kui nodded enthusiastically, as humbly as a student. This movement attracted the attention of everyone around him. Several of them reached the top of the mountain together. Fen Lin noticed from afar that here was a master who could understand the later stages. In this way, they can be considered at the forefront among hidden families. Come to the living room. There is an old man with a goatee. He was sitting cross-legged on a cushion on the floor. He was shirtless and had a bandage around his abdomen. My dad has been like this since he returned from injury. He seems to have fallen into a coma, Wu Rui said to the two people around him. Go and take a look first, Fen Lin said to Zhang Kui next to him. Zhang Kui was full of surprises. Fen Lin meant that he planned to guide him. He walked over and took off the bandage. I found a deep wound on the side of my belly. Currently, the location of the wound has turned black. He grabbed Wu Zhang's wrist, closed his eyes, and checked his pulse. After a long time, he said, the pulse is intermittent. This is a sign of death. When Wu Rui heard this, his face suddenly turned pale. Sir, please save my father. It's just Fen Lin. Come closer, grab Wu Zhang's wrist and feel her. Then he let go of his hand, looked at Zhang Kui and said, check the person's pulse. Don't just look at the first layer. Besides dying, what other symptoms does he have? Zhang Kui closed his eyes again and patiently took his pulse. It is very difficult to diagnose because the pulse is intermittent. But Zhang Kui can be considered a miracle doctor. It is different from ordinary people. After a minute, he suddenly opened his eyes. The brain is swollen, and the 3M of the hands and feet are damaged. If you still have some ability, look at his beta point and a shitting point. Acupuncture point, Fen Lin said lightly. Okay. Zhang Kui immediately checked Wu Zhang's head. These 2 acupoints were on the head. Suddenly, Zhang Kui withdrew his hand like lightning, looked at his finger and saw that it was pricked. There are needles and 2 acupoints. Zhang Kui said sharply. What? When Wu Rui heard the words, he immediately walked over, because old people have wrinkles. It was impossible to detect it with a naked eye. He had only noticed the wound on his abdomen before. Wu Rui ran his hand over it and sure enough, he felt something sharp. Take the lamp and the tweezers, Zhang Kui shouted to the nurse who was there. Followed him. A woman in her 30s quickly walked in and opened the medicine box in her hand. Zhang Kui was holding a pair of tweezers in one hand and a small flashlight in the other. Approached Wu Zhang's head and finally took out 2 needles thinner than hair, only a centimeter long, from his 2 acupuncture points. The needle is transparent and the material is unknown. Cough. As soon as the 2 silver needles were taken out, Wu Zhang suddenly coughed. Wu Rui's face was filled with ecstasy and he quickly bowed to Fen Lin. This man is truly a miracle doctor. If it was just a collapse, his father could just wait to die. But after Fen Lin reminded him, his father really reacted. Zhang Kui also hurriedly handed over to Fen Lin. Sir, thank you for your advice. Listening to it is better than studying for 10 years. Okay, it's none of your business. Let's go out. Fen Lin looked at the people around him. Now that Wu Rui has seen Fen Lin's medical skills, how can he dare to neglect him? Zhang Kui also resigned immediately. Each famous doctor has his own unique skills. Unless you plan to wash your hands in a golden basin, you will teach your disciples everything you have. What's more, Zhang Kui is not Fen Lin's apprentice, so it is really inappropriate for him to be by their side when they are treated. After everyone left, Fen Lin slapped Zhang Kui on the head and a flurry of silver needles pierced the top of his head. Wu Zhang's body trembled violently and he opened his eyes suddenly. Are you awake? Fen Lin said expressionlessly. Who are you? Wu Zhang asked in a deep voice. Before you ask me who I am, first feel your head and get everything out. Fen Lin said calmly. You know, there are more than 2 in his head. Those 2 sticks simply penetrated the acupuncture points. My head. Wu Zhang's eyes suddenly widened, he clenched his fists and suddenly burst into energy. In the realm of penetration, energy can arise from any part of the human body. He concentrated his strength on his head. Bang 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 and all the needles on his head flew out, including the silver needle inserted by Fen Lin. These needles fly, pierce walls, furniture and even penetrate glass. Hearing such a big noise, Wu Rui from outside immediately opened the door and walked in. Dad, are you awake? Wu Rui walked over in surprise. Don't hurt him, he is a miracle doctor and is here to cure you. Wu Zhang then remembered that he was seriously injured, but in the end conscious, he escaped from his home. Before he fainted, he made a special call to Fen Chen. You, Fen Chen's son. Wu Zhang looked at Fen Lin. They looked very similar. Chapter 538 Someone coming from the Dragon Palace. Fen Lin nodded. Yes, he has been busy recently and doesn't have time, so he asked me to come. Haha. As expected at Feng Chen's son, his medical skills are really excellent. Wu Zhang laughed and immediately looked over. At Wu Rui, go down and enjoy your banquet with Mr. Fen Lin. This time, the miracle Dr. Zhang Kui also helped. Fen Lin turned around and said something with very high emotional intelligence. Zhang Kui also felt his face blush, knowing that he hadn't done anything to help. But someone mentioned it so casually, which really made me feel less embarrassed. Now he respects Fen Lin more. It turns out that Mr. Zhang Kui is. Here, look at me. Wu Zhang patted his head. I want to entertain Mr. Zhang. No, I have something urgent to do here. Zhang Kui couldn't. We can't help, but let's go back now and study carefully. The patient's pulse. Fen Lin's reminder just now really benefited him a lot. Okay, I will see you officer in person. Wu Zhang walked over with a smile. You're injured and should not move. Zhang Kui smiled and waved. Wu Rui, go. Wu Zhang looked at his son next to him. Yes. Wu Rui smiled and made an inviting gesture. Mr. Zhang Kui, please. Yes. Zhang Kui said goodbye to Fen Lin and followed Wu Rui to leave. In the living room, Wu Zhang went to the bedroom to get a piece of clothing and asked with a smile. Yes, Dragon Palace, Wu Zhang said in a deep voice. However, they won't kill me for no reason. Someone should want me dead. Dragon Palace. Fen Lin naturally knew that the ancient warrior killing organization. The peony flower counts as half. But they also take orders from ordinary people. Nowadays, the assassin world is extremely complicated. Even with the previous peony flower, even if it was given preferential policies, it could not be compared with the assassin software developed by Lin. It seems that a physical store has been affected by an online store. But facing ancient warriors, especially ancient master warriors, the devolution is not that serious. Ancient martial arts masters generally have great experience. After all, no matter how big a force it is, they like to recruit these people. It includes countries. There are really not many murderous organizations that dare to kill these people. If Dragon Palace ranks second, the murderous organization dares to rank first. Then you should be careful in the future. It will be difficult to be targeted by them, Fen Lin said sitting on the sofa next to him. He himself felt nothing at all. Currently, both Dr. Pa Zhao and Kai Lin wanted him to die. In addition to these two people, Fen Lin also wanted to destroy the real humans. They must have caused Fen Lin more trouble than Dragon Palace. It doesn't matter, Wu Zhang said with a smile. Your father gave me a proposal before to let me connect with Wu Zhang of the country. I am ready to join them. It's one way. With the backing of Wu Zhang, Long Yan doesn't dare to be so presumptuous. Fen Lin took out his cell phone. I have the cell phone number of a big shot like Wu Jian. Do you want it? Do you even have the number? Wu Zhang looked surprised. I wonder who it is. Have I heard of him? His name is Zhen Wanwen. Fen Lin was in Wu Jian and the person he had the best relationship with was Zhen Wanwen. Xia Wenbo could only take second place. Bao Zhen has a very good relationship with his father. When Fen Lin first entered Wu Jian, Zhen Wanwen took good care of him. Especially when some people show off in front of him. If you talk about the realm of divine orifices, you dare to enter Wu Jian. The first person to stand up at this moment was Zhen Wanwen. It turned out to be Senior Zhen Wanwen. Wu Zhang's eyes almost popped out of his head. He knew this person's name clearly. It is rumored that he has already surpassed the peak of temperament and entered the Dakan realm. A person who has achieved great success is a legendary figure. And Wu Zhang has been stuck in the late stage of penetration for decades. In fact, he knew that it was very difficult to achieve a breakthrough. Yes, that's him. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. Bao Zhen, an old bachelor, is a practical and capable person. Wherever you go, you will never forget your business. You know, there is a commission to bring people to Wuji. Like the rewards of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. However, Wu Zhang's review is also very strict and also pays attention to character. It's not just that you can enter if you want. Dad, the food is ready. At this time, Wu Rui walked in with a smile. Okay, Fen Lin, let's go with a good meal. Wu Zhang smiled and took Fen Lin's arm, heading to the grass halfway up the mountain. There's a white round table here, and Wu Zhang sits down with Fen Lin sitting next to him. Jin Fan is also here, come and sit. Wu Zhang greeted Wu Jinfen and said with a smile, this time I am alive because of Fen Lin. Fen Lin was next to him and said calmly, thank you too. What? Wu Zhang suddenly frowned and asked in a deep voice, what's going on? Not far away, Wu Zhangji and his mother, Sum Q, were scared. Lower your head. Dad, it's all my fault. Wu Rui lowered his head and said, it's me who doesn't know the truth. Seeing Fen Lin's youth, I thought he was a liar. It has nothing to do with you. Fen Lin looked at eyes worriedly. Wu Zhangji. It's you. Wu Feng suddenly turned his head and looked at his grandson. He knows this grandson's temperament best. Grandpa, I was wrong. Grandpa, it's all my fault. Wu Zhangji was so scared that he immediately knelt on the grass. He also felt afraid if this man had not cured his grandfather, the status of the Wu family may plummet. Fen Lin, you are my savior, what do you think we should do? Wu Feng looked at Fen Lin and asked. Forget it. Fen Lin gave Wu Feng some face, not to mention that Wu Zhangji didn't cause him any trouble. Why don't you thank Fen Lin? Wu Feng scolded. Thank you, brother Fen Lin, Wu Zhangji hurriedly bowed. Get up and keep a low profile from now on. Fen Lin waved his hand. Yes. Wu Zhangji stood up. After Fen Lin ate here, he handed Zhen Wenwen's number to Wu Feng. Wu Feng was a little nervous and didn't dare to call first. Therefore, Fen Lin was going to explain to Lao Zhen first. Suddenly, Fen Lin looked into the distance. What's wrong? Wu Feng asked strangely, following Fen Lin's gaze. I found a man wearing a black robe and a golden dragon mask on his face, standing in the distance. Above the dragon mask, there are 2 dragon horns that look realistic. Dragon Palace. Wu Feng's face was as pale as paper. He stepped on the ground and jumped in front of everyone. Guys, hurry up. Fen Lin looked at the mask in the distance. There are 3 types of masks in the Dragon Palace. Black iron, silver, and gold. This man wears a golden mask and is the main assassin of Dragon Palace. Oh. The black-robed man in the distance stepped on one foot and suddenly rushed towards him. The air was filled with the harsh sound of breaking wind. Early temper stage Fen Lin nodded secretly. It seemed that this murderous organization was really powerful. Realm of tempering, no matter what force you go to. These include Wujian or the Western Holy See. Everyone is invited. But they chose to be a murderer. Boom. After just one encounter, Wu Feng was taken down. It was like a kite with a string broken and blood gushing out wildly. Chapter 539. Crazy and cool. Wu Rui had already held hands with his wife and son, about to take them away. But when he saw this scene, he was paralyzed. His own father, in the last stage of penetration, could not even withstand a single blow from this man. What a farther escape. Let's go. Wu Feng burst out loudly and shouted at everyone. Seeing this, Wu Jinfen could only hold Fen Lin's arm and prepare to escape. However, he found that he couldn't achieve it at all. Fen Lin smiled and pushed away Wu Jinfen's hand, walked towards Wu Feng and pricked him with a few silver needles. Help him stop bleeding. Fen Lin looked at the black-robed man in front of him calmly. You are so brave. Do you know who he is? Wu Zhangji cursed in the distance secretly. Isn't this big brother too crazy? My grandfather was seriously injured by a blow. Fen Lin did not take a master of this level seriously. Just now I was clearly persuading myself to keep a low profile. But he began to show his coldness. Seeing that this man was silent, Fen Lin continued. He is a member of the country's Wujian, your boss's former boss. Are you sure you want to act? The black-robed man carefully observed Fen Lin in front of him through the golden dragon mask. Then he took out his cell phone. Fen Lin raised his eyebrows. The skin on the back of the other person's hands and wrists was as thin as jelly. It should be a woman. Is your name Fen Lin? Suddenly, a cold female voice came from behind the mask. Not bad. Do we know each other? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Don't know. The black-robed man changed the subject, but you are also within the range of death. Boom. This woman bowed like a wild beast and suddenly rushed towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin, be careful. Wu Feng was about to get up when Fen Lin held his shoulders. Call. The black smoke formed a wall in front of Fen Lin. Boom. This woman hit the top without making a move. Brush. A hand emerged from the black smoke. Fen Lin grabbed the opponent's mask. Click. The mask was crushed by Fen Lin. He continued to grab the other person's face tightly and pushed them to the ground. Boom. The earth split into pieces in an instant and the woman's head sank deep into the ground. Fen Lin knelt on her heart, originally wanting to control her with his knees. But he didn't expect it to be too elastic. His knees slid down and he knelt next to her body. However, as a teacher, Fen Lin corrected his actions immediately. A dagger fell in front of the woman's neck. Everyone around was shocked when they saw this scene. What is the situation? They rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Wu Feng, who had broken through the later realm, was beaten to blood in an encounter. Fen Lin, however, was found and subdued him. How can this be? Wu Zhangji was so scared that he could barely breathe and couldn't believe that he had offended such an important fish. He truly felt lucky to be alive now. Wu Rui was also surprised. He didn't expect this man to have extraordinary medical skills. Stronger. Especially now that he looks like he's in his 20s. The kingdom will definitely improve even more in the future. Wu Jianfen also smiled bitterly. Just now he was planning to protect Feng Lin and leave. Unexpectedly, the other party was stronger than his grandfather. Wu Zhong was also stunned, but then he laughed. Ha ha ha. I'm so embarrassed that I'm not even as good as Feng Chen's son. Let the others go. Feng Lin said in a deep voice. Only then did Wu Zhong react and immediately turn around. Guys, hurry up. Yeah. Wu Rui and others nodded and ran down the mountain. Watching the others leave, Feng Lin grabbed the woman's neck with one hand and slashed the black robe on her head with a dagger. Sure enough, I saw a pair of red animal ears and a head of red hair. It looks a lot like a fox's ears. It was when Feng Lin saw this that he asked the others to leave. Isn't this a human race? Wu Zhong took a deep breath, knowing that he had heard of it. There are other human beings hidden in this world. However, he had not seen it with his own eyes. Today, it was finally a revelation. It's easy to understand Feng Lin was still surprised at this moment. It is clear that a master of this level would have a better scope for development if he moved on to other forces. However, if it is not a human race, it is an exception. Kill me if you can. The woman said viciously. His hair is red and his eyes are yellowish-brown, like the eyes of a wild beast. If I wanted to kill you, you are already dead just now and I didn't do anything. Naturally, I have a reason not to kill you, Feng Lin asked with a smile. Why do you want to kill me? I will never betray Dragon Palace even until death, Han Jing said coldly. You will not die. Feng Lin pricked his body with several silver needles, first controlling his meridians. Later, Feng Lin called Zhen Wenwen. He planned to resolve Wu Zhong's matter first. Hey, what's wrong? Zhen Wenwen asked there. I have a business for you, Wu Zhong. I wonder if you have heard of it. Until the last stage, Feng Lin said into the mobile phone. Wu Zhong's eyes flashed helplessly. Before, he was still lucky, thinking that Feng Lin could win because of the black mist just now. However, people can clearly see through his realm. It is enough to prove that he is indeed better than him. Oh, I heard about Wu Zhong from Zhajiang. Do you want to join Wu Jian? Zhen Wenwen said with a smile. Feng Lin nodded. Yes, he and my father are also friends. Let me call you later. It's okay, I will wait. After Zhen Wenwen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Wu Zhong had already passed the divine orifice realm, and being so close, he naturally heard the voice on the phone. Call Lao Zem now, I'm leaving. Feng Lin grabbed Han Jing's neck and jumped down the mountain. Wu Zhong looked at the direction where Feng Lin disappeared and shook his head deeply. Indeed, the tigered father does not have dog children. Feng Lin grabbed Han Jing and flew towards the mountains. He felt that the distance had almost reached, so he stopped. What do you want to do? Han Jing asked coldly. Try to see if there's reproductive isolation between us. Feng Lin smiled slightly. This is my favorite part. As he spoke, Feng Lin tore his black robe into pieces. She was found wearing a black tracksuit underneath. Should I clean it? Feng Lin suddenly looked behind Han Jing and saw a big, fluffy red tail. Can be used as a pillow. Completely different from the Zook I met before. There seem to be differences between the two beast girls. But this is normal. We are all human beings and we are also divided into yellow, white and black. Feng Lin, do you think I'm afraid of you? Han Jing shouted coldly, suddenly raised her leg and attacked Feng Lin's brother. But now his ki is sealed. In Feng Lin's eyes, the speed was as slow as a snail. He clenched his legs to stop the opponent's attack. By the way, my question is, why do you want to kill me? I won't stop until you answer me. Feng Lin pressed Han Jing to the ground and grabbed the zip of her black sportswear. Han Jing's body resisted wildly, but she couldn't use ki and couldn't break free. She was so anxious that she had tears in her eyes and the animal ears on her head were shaking wildly. Chapter 540 Alliance Deal. I will not betray the Dragon Palace. Han Jing said through clenched teeth despite the fear in her heart. It seems that you have deep feelings for Dragon Palace. Feng Lin continued to put psychological pressure on her. When you come back with a big belly, I believe they will accept you. No. Han Jing didn't dare to think about it. In the picture, she said with a trembling voice, the Dragon King found out that you killed Long Weisheng and wanted to avenge you. Long Weisheng. It turns out that they are in a group. Feng Lin suddenly understood. However, I remember that when I killed the Dragon Weisheng, Liu Yao was the only one around me. He definitely would not tell Long Diang that he had killed Long Weisheng. The whistleblower is most likely Degu Lishao. I already told you, can you let me go now? Han Jing's face begged. No, Wu Zhong was my friend just now. If I let you go back, you might kill her. Fen Lin shook his head. You're going to kill me. Han Jing's face returned to its previous cold expression. Killing you is of course the best option, but you are still of some use now. Fen Lin looked at Han Jing, needing to think of a foolproof strategy. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed and he took out his mobile phone with a smile. Take a few photos with me and I will let you go. What photos? I tell you, if you insult me, I will commit suicide immediately. Han Jing has already decided, isn't it death? The moment she became an assassin, she had no intention of dying peacefully. Don't worry, it's just a simple photo, you don't need to take off your clothes, Fen Lin said with a gentle smile, I'm just interested in your race. After saying that, Fen Lin directly turned on the video. Then you can take many photos. He took out his dagger, stabbed it into the tree next to him, and placed his cell phone on top of it. Then he grabbed Han Jing and stood in front of the phone. Hold my waist and smile at the camera, Fen Lin hugged Han Jing and said lightly. Are you sure you want to take pictures of these? Han Jing asked coldly. I just took some photographs to show the children at home, Fen Lin said sincerely. Han Jing thought this was nothing. As long as it's not too much, just take a few photos. Then, according to Fen Lin's words, she hugged her waist and smiled at the camera. Hey hey, Han Jing laughed awkwardly. Bend your head on my shoulder, Fen Lin reminded. Han Jing hesitated for a moment, but still did it. Okay. Fen Lin took the phone and looked at the recorded video. 3 photographs were taken. One of them shows Fen Lin hugging Han Jing. The other picture shows Han Jing hugging Fen Lin and smiling. Finally, Han Jing rested her head on Fen Lin's shoulder. Okay, you can go. I keep my word. Fen Lin waved his hand at Han Jing, but I also hope you will give me a face and forget about Wu Zhang's murder. Han Jing didn't expect Fen Lin to be so just let her go. She asked uncertainly, am I really leaving? Come on, Wu Zhang's assassination failed, just say that you met Wu Zhang and joined the Wu Zhang organization, and it turned out that there was a master here. Fen Lin said to Han Jing. His hands had left here. Han Jing looked at Fen Lin's back, shook her head vigorously, and picked up the black robe on the ground. One of them covers the tail and the back, and the other covers the entire head, leaving only a pair of eyes exposed. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. After things were finished here, Fen Lin also returned to Yan City. As soon as he arrived at the villa, Fen Lin sensed that a master who had broken through in the early stage was in the villa. The second master was still facing the door and did not move. He could guess who this person was. When I arrived at the courtyard of the villa, I saw Yunan sitting at the stone table in the courtyard. Boss, I'm about to call you. Yunan raised his head and greeted. Fen Lin paused for a moment, took out his phone and said, do something for me first that. Yunan stood up and asked. Fen Lin handed the phone to Yunan, flipping through the photos, use Photoshop to change the scene of these 3 photos. Wow, animal ears, big tail, it turns out that the boss likes this one. Yunan zoomed in on the photos and looked at Jing's red face. She is from the Dragon Palace. I have been attacked recently. I need to take precautions. Fen Lin already had a rough idea in mind. It's very easy. I can modify it with my phone. Yunan took out his white phone and waved it at Fen Lin. Send me the photos. Alright. Fen Lin sent the 3 photos to Yunan. He then stood behind Yunan and watched his operations. Where can I replace this photo of my arms around your waist? Is it okay in a hotel? Yunan said with a smile. Okay, Fen Lin nodded. Finally, Yunan cut out the images and photographed them on the hotel room window. Fen Lin watched carefully and found that he was really immersed in the scene, but he always felt that something was missing. By the way, can I change my clothes? Fen Lin discovered the problem. Everything can be changed. This is the lowest level of technology. Yunan followed Fen Lin's idea and perfectly changed the photo in 3 strokes. In the first picture, Han Jing hugged Fen Lin's waist and smiled as he was taken to the Photoshop hotel. Fen Lin was wearing big pants, no shirt, and Han Jing was wearing a bath towel. In the second image, Han Jing rests her head on Fen Lin's shoulder. They are both on the beach. Han Jing was wearing a skirt and a straw hat. In the third picture, Fen Lin hugged Han Jing and was directly photographed by Yunan. They were both lying on the bed with only their heads exposed. Okay, perfect, very perfect. Fen Lin was going to make a pocket watch with the second photo on the beach. What he had to do was very simple. First let Long Bian and Han Jing become enemies and let them cause chaos. What are you doing here? Fen Lin put away his phone and looked at Yunan. I saw you down just now and felt a little scared. Fortunately, I didn't use the god eye. Yunan looked at Fen Lin with a smile. I will also follow our father's words and move forward. Temper first. It's my dad, Fen Lin reminded. Our father agreed, so how can you say something? Liu suddenly said, I came here this time to make a deal with the boss. What? Fen Lin asked with a frown. Of the 4 founders of Jia Land, the last one left behind 9 treasures. Liu took out a chain that looked like a bicycle chain with many strange oracle bone inscriptions. This is Liang Yingyan's treasure. He likes to have this treasure on his body, Liu explained. There's a formation on it, and even the Dakan realm can't be released. What? So strong? Fen Lin was surprised and asked. This piece of black diamond-shaped iron is the key to unlocking it. Liu handed Fen Lin another piece of diamond-shaped iron. I want to use this thing to exchange of the boss's ashes holy goo. Who did you listen to? Fen Lin looked at Liu in surprise. Leave this matter alone, do you want to change it? Liu chuckled and said, this chain can lock a woman and satisfy the boss's bad taste. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 541. No one will bother you today. What nonsense are you talking about? How could a positive person like me do something so miserable? Fen Lin frowned slightly. He looked at the chain and asked, how do I use this? Normally, it is the open state. Liu smiled and took the chain, wrapping it around Fen Lin's wrist. After that, just cross the chain. At this point, the black chain suddenly tightened and wrapped around Fen Lin's wrist. The chains penetrated deep into Fen Lin's skin. Fen Lin gradually clenched his fists and the energy in his wrist suddenly burst out. But the black chain amulet shone brightly. Fen Lin could not break free from this chain even with all his strength. It feels pretty good. Fen Lin's body gradually became covered in flames. Then, the black chain fell from Flame's wrist to the ground. The real Fen Lin walked out behind Liu. It seems that this thing can't block me. The boss is really powerful. Liu leaned over and picked up the chain, but the others probably can't do something about it. I have to say that this is good. Fen Lin took the piece of black iron in his hand, put it on the chain, and the chain was loosened and untied. Hey, boss, do you agree to my deal? Liu smiled and winked. I reluctantly accept. Anyway, Fen Lin still has 3 pairs on her body. The first pair was handed over to Kai Lin, but the woman's motives were not pure. He took it back. Now it is equivalent to transferring Ash's holy goo from Kai Lin to Liu. 2 points of black light floated from Fen Lin's fingertips falling into Liu's body. With a smile. Thank you, boss. I have to develop the photos. You can do whatever you want. Fen Lin put the chain on the space ring, turned around and left. Liu gently raised his hand and looked. Black smoke floating and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Fen Lin spent hundreds of dollars this time buying a necklace, pocket watch and putting the photos of Fen Lin and Huang Jing on the beach on it. After all, this seems more significant. You can't put a photo of someone lying under the quilter for people to see. He kept the rest of the photos in his wallet. After finishing his matters, Fen Lin went to the villa. I discovered from afar that Lai Woling Huang had returned. He immediately entered the villa and saw Zhao King and Kakio Kiao sitting on the sofa. King, are you back? Fen Lin walked over with a smile and sat next to Zhao King. Well, sister and Zhao are going to follow Senior Wei on a mission, Zhao King said. She asked me to come and tell you. Wei. Fen Lin nodded secretly. Wei is a master and she has taken him with you and feels safe. Fen Lin, come play with me. I'm bored to death. Kakio Kiao approached Fen Lin and climbed onto his lap. Haha, Fen Lin, I'm going to the other side. Zhao King stood up from the sofa and also felt that she was too weak. We must move forward quickly and try to help Fen Lin as soon as possible. At the same time. Relics from the northern border of China. Huang Jing walked in quickly. Inside the ruins was a meadow. Not far from the entrance to the ruins, Huang Jing saw a tall, middle-aged man with a long face and pigtails, wearing a suit. The middle-aged man has a slight beard, giving him a mature charm. This person is the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, Long Hao. Beside Long Hao was a red-haired man. Those brown beast eyes didn't look human. But it doesn't have animal ears or tail. Dragon King Huang Jing immediately ran over and kneeled on the ground respectfully. Huang Jing, is the mission completed? Long Hao asked with a smile. Dragon King, I didn't finish it. Huang Jing lowered her head and hurriedly explained. Mainly because, it's enough, I don't want to listen to the reasons. If it's not finished, it's not finished. There is no need to defend oneself. Long Hao standing with his hands behind his back, he looked at Huang Jing lightly. Trash. We, the Red Fox clan, have been disgraced by you. Even in the late stages of breakthrough, you can't even figure it out. The man on the side glared at Huang Jing fiercely. Needless to say, Long Hao waved his hand gently. He looked at Huang Jing and said, "You have failed 2 missions in a row. From now on, you will be demoted to Silver Dragon. Dragon King, I met Feng Lin." Huang Jing lowered her head to the ground. "I remembered the Dragon King's order, so I went to kill him, but I couldn't beat him." "What? Feng Lin?" Long Hao raised his eyebrows. Wu Paja had previously revealed to him that Feng Lin was promoted to temperament by killing Long Weisheng. "Dragon King, I am willing to come to you with Feng Lin's head." Huang Jin kneeled on the ground respectfully. Long Hao pondered for a moment. Huang Jin was the current leader of the Red Fox clan. He is also his subordinate, the strongest person in the Red Fox clan, and is currently in the middle stage of temperament. Killing a Feng Lin is still very simple. You should know that the more you go down a level, the difference is a big difference. "Okay, I'll leave this matter to you." Long Hao nodded, then looked at Huang Jin. "Receive the Silver Dragon Mask. From now on, you will not be able to enter the ruins unless you are called." "Yeah." Huang Jin wiped away her tears. "Get up and walk towards the ruins." I finally stayed up until nightfall. Today, Zhao King only cooked meals for Feng Lin and Kakiokiao. After the 3 of them finished eating, Feng Lin looked at Kakiokiao and said, "You go to bed early today." Hearing this, Zhao King immediately lowered her head and her face flushed. He roughly guessed what Feng Lin was going to do. "I don't," Kakiokiao said while eating. "You can play with your phone, but don't bother me," Feng Lin said lightly. After dinner, Feng Lin hugged Kakiokiao and headed to her room. Throwing Kakiokiao onto the bed, Feng Lin told her, "I'm going out to run some errands. You can sleep here today." After saying that, Feng Lin closed the door. Then he entered Zhao King's room and lay down directly. After a while, Zhao King walked in timidly. As expected, Feng Lin was found here. King, come here quickly, no one will bother us today." Feng Lin smiled at Zhao King. Zhao King lowered her head shyly, not daring to look at Feng Lin. But he still closed the door, got ready, and lay down next to Feng Lin. "Shit!" Feng Lin suddenly cursed. When Zhao King heard this, her face suddenly turned red and she was so embarrassed that she pressed her face against Feng Lin's chest. Boom! At this moment, a vibration came from Feng Lin courtyard. Zhao King was so scared that she trembled. "From Grandma." Feng Lin cursed just now because he felt this powerful aura. He kissed Zhao King on the cheek and said, "Stay still. If you dare to disturb me and your good deeds, you are looking for death." He immediately got dressed and jumped out the window. I found a man in black robes and a golden dragon mask standing in the courtyard. However, this person's strength is stronger than Huang Jing's previous encounter. People of the Dragon Palace. Feng Lin's eyes gradually narrowed into a thin line. Chapter 542. So in Discord, Huang Jing took out his cell phone and took a look, confirming that the person in front of him was Feng Lin. Without saying a word, he immediately charged towards Feng Lin. Feng Lin didn't want to fight him here, so he turned around and ran away. Huang Jin followed closely behind. The villa area here was originally located in the outskirts. In the blink of an eye, Feng Lin left the city and arrived at the deserted road. Huang Jin looked around and found that it was relatively empty, so he was ready to act now. But suddenly, Feng Lin in the distance suddenly turned around. This action scared Huang Jin and made him retreat instinctively. But he looked carefully and found that Feng Lin was not looking at him. Instead, he stares at the ground. He looked and found a pocket watch with a necklace lying on the road. Huang Jin ran over, bent down and took the pocket watch in his hand. Feng Lin looked nervous when he saw this. "Give me the thing back. It seems that this is very important to you." Huang Jin opened the cover with his thumb, and the eyes behind them suddenly widened. The pocket watch photos were of Feng Lin and Huang Jin. The background was the beach and Huang Jin rested her head on Feng Lin's shoulder. With a sinister look on his face, he scolded. "What is your relationship with this woman?" "I won't tell you even to death," Feng Lin said coldly. "Give me back the things." Ha 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 ha. Huang Jin suddenly raised his head and left. He took off his mask and black robe and said with a smile, "Brother, one of ours." Feng Lin narrowed his eyes and realized that this man also had red hair. Especially those beast eyes are exactly the same as Huang Jin. "This person is my sister," Huang Jin smiled. "You fart? Where are your animal tail and ears?" Feng Lin asked coldly. "You humans, the useless appendage can be removed inside the body, let alone things outside the body like us." Huang Jin pointed to the top of his head and said, "It doesn't cost much to remove the animal's ears and tail. And it also makes it easier for me to move outside. Why not do it? Feng Lin suddenly realized that he had heard Zook say it before. His animal ears are artificial ears left over from evolution. They are just an appearance and have no real function. Feng Lin pretended to be confused and asked, "Is she really your sister? What is her name?" "My name is Huanjing and your name is Huanjing." Huanjing said lightly. "Okay, now it's your turn. What's the relationship with her?" "Turns out I'm actually my uncle. Huanjing and I are very much in love and are about to get married," Feng Lin said with a smile. "What evidence do you have?" Huanjing asked expressionlessly. He and Huanjing were not enemies. In terms of their previous status, the Huanjing status was higher than his. But since they surrendered to the Dragon King, Long Hao made him a leader before, but in recent years, Huanjing's cultivation speed can only be described as a challenge to heaven. If this continues, she may surpass him in a few years. Furthermore, she has a very high-pitched voice among other Red Fox tribes. Afterwards, Long Hao would definitely make him the leader. Huang Yan would never allow this to happen. Now just take control of Huanjing. The worst case is that he will be expelled from the Dragon Palace, and the worst case will be death. For him, this is a business with certain benefits. As I am my uncle, I won't hide it from you. We still have some private photos. Feng Lin smiled, took out his wallet, and handed the remaining 2 photos to Huanjing. After Huanjing saw it, a sneer appeared on his face. We all wrapped ourselves in back towels and slept together to see how he complained while Huanjing's figure disappeared. You can solve Feng Lin's problem at any time. What's more, he now considers himself his uncle and wants to kill him without any effort. His mobile phone in called Long Hao. After a while, the other party connected. "What? Did you solve it so quickly?" "I haven't done anything yet, but I discovered Huanjing's secret. That bastard actually deceived the Dragon King," Huanjing said fiercely. "How do you say this?" Long Hao himself was still surprised. After all, based on his understanding of Huanjing, this woman is very loyal. "I was in Feng Lin's room and found a photo of Huang Yan and Feng Lin. After a conversation, I learned that Huang Yan and Feng Lin were lovers." When Huang Yan said this, he paused and continued, "It's me now. I'll send you the evidence." After hanging up the phone, Huanjing recorded the 2 photos and the photo of the pocket watch into a video. Meanwhile, he added, "Besides these, there are many more in Feng Lin's phone." After that, she sent the video to Long Hao. Border ruins. Long Hao looked at these photos, her face became more and more cold. Huanjing would definitely not dare to betray herself, but behind her back she likes. According to the age group of the Red Fox tribe, 30 years old is equivalent to 20 years old for a human girl. Huanjing is now the age when she first fell in love. "Here comes someone," Long Hao said outside. A figure landed here in the blink of an eye. Dragon King called Huanjing. "Hurry up," Long Hao said lightly. "Yes." 10 minutes passed. Huanjing, wearing a silver dragon mask, quickly walked over. She took off her mask and knelt down respectfully, her expression a little excited. The Dragon King must have given him a chance to redeem himself for his hard work over the years. "Dragon King, what are your orders?" Huanjing asked respectfully. "What is your relationship with Feng Lin?" Long Hao asked calmly. "Feng Lin." "Dragon King Minjian, I have nothing to do with him," Huanjing hurriedly explained. "I don't like people lying to me. You have one last chance." Long Hao's voice has turned cold. "I met him for the first time yesterday. We had a fight. I lost and I ran away." Huanjing was so anxious that she cried. "Dragon King, please be careful. You have no chance." Long Hao threw the phone in front of Huanjing. "Come out after reading this. For the sake of your dedication to me, I will spare your life." Huanjing immediately opened the video and looked at the photos above, her head buzzing. She almost fell. Anger. "Dragon King. These are photoshopped photographs. Feng Lin and I were in the forest, taking some random photographs. Just now we said we lost and ran away, but now I just took some random photographs, right? Then a while ago, you two, have you ever given birth to a child for him?" Long Hao looked coldly and walked out. Boom. Huanjing's body was shaken violently and flew backwards, blood spurting out. "Get out. Before I change my mind, otherwise, you will die," Long Hao said coldly. "Dragon King. I'm going to kill Feng Lin now and bring his head to you." Huanjing wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and ran away crying. "You are not necessary. Maybe Huanjing has already killed Feng Lin," Long Hao said to Huanjing's back. "Next time we meet, I will kill you. Feng Lin. You bastard. I want to kill you. I will kill you." Huanjing walked out of the ruins, already crying. Feng Lin sneezed and rubbed his nose, feeling that a girl was thinking about him. He jumped into Zhao King's room through the window, immediately taking off clothes and got into bed. King, there's no one right now, damn. Who is it? Fen Lin lifted the quilt. Chapter 543 The Dragon King doesn't love me anymore. Fen Lin opened the quilt and found that Kakiokiao was on the bed, looking at her phone. What are you doing here? Fen Lin pinched Kakiokiao's cheek. Let it go, I'm worried about her. What if you fall into the enemy's trap? Kakiokiao pushed Fen Lin's hand away. Kiokiao, you are so smart. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. Now that I'm here, you can go. I will not leave. Kakiokiao pursed her lips. Don't think you don't know what you want to do. Your little brat doesn't know anything. Fen Lin grabbed Kakiokiao's ears. Are you leaving? I'll go. Kakiokiao hung up the phone and hugged Zhao King and put her face in front of her. Fen Lin, let her stay here. Zhao King smiled at Fen Lin. Oh, it's okay, you said it. Fen Lin said helplessly. Kakiokiao was in the middle of the two people, lying on the bed, playing with her mobile phone. Fen Lin rolled her eyes and put away her phone, sleep. And turned to Zhao King. Not much happened this night. Early the next morning after everyone at breakfast, Zhao King went to the opposite side to train. Now only Yixin, Xiaomu and Zhao King are training here. Fen Lin looked at Yixin. His expression was obviously bad. I don't feel well. At this moment, Fen Lin's eyes looked into the distance and the aura returned. It seems that today I plan to solve it myself. He went to Zhu Ruan's villa and found the man from yesterday appearing in front of him. Uncle. Fen Lin walked over with a smile. Hanjin was not in disguise today, he looked like a red-haired gangster. It doesn't make people care too much. Fen Lin, my sister also came to Yan City. I'll take you to see her. Hanjin smiled at Fen Lin. He originally planned to kill Fen Lin last night, but he was in a good mood, so he went to the bar for a drink. He learned from his friend that the Dragon King had expelled Hanjin. Naturally, no one can take away the position of leader. Really? Great. Fen Lin knew exactly what he wanted to do. However, his little trick has been carried out. This person is no longer useful. He went to a quiet place and just killed him. Haha, come with me. Hanjin turned his head, with a hint of indifference in his eyes. Fen Lin followed Hongyan to the uninhabited forest on the outskirts of the city. The two went into the forest. Hanjin smiled and turned around, looked at Fen Lin and said, Hanjin is behind you. Hanjin. Fen Lin immediately turned around. Hanjin's figure rebelled and appeared behind Fen Lin in the blink of an eye. He turned his palms into claws and thrust towards Fen Lin's heart. Whistle. Fen Lin's body suddenly crouched down. Instead, the two red long swords penetrated Hanjin from behind and came out in front of him. What? You knew I was going to kill you. Hanjin's pupil shrank suddenly, and he immediately jumped up and squatted on a high branch. Blood fell down his body and dripped to the ground. Brother, in terms of strength, you are stronger than me, but in terms of sneak attack, you are still far behind. Fen Lin's voice came from behind Hanjin. Hanjin suddenly turned around and swept his palm across Fen Lin's neck precisely. But what he crossed was just a fake body. The real Fen Lin had already arrived behind him and the scalpel easily cut the back of his head. Click. After that, Fen Lin retreated 10 meters away in the blink of an eye. The movements are performed in one go. You, damn. Hanjin's eyes were full of reluctance, and then he fell off the branch and hit the ground. It's a bit unpleasant to say sneak attack. This should be called killing skill. Fen Lin waved his hand gently and stabbed the opponent with 4 fire swords. Ugly blood came out of Hanjin's mouth and he pointed at Fen Lin shakily. Finally, the raised hand finally fell. In the realm of temperament, physical strength is completely different from that of normal people. The last blow is very important. Fen Lin glanced at him lightly and walked over. Looking at her finger, there was a ring. Fen Lin crouched down and felt it, and it turned out to be a space ring. He took the things and destroyed the body. Returned to the villa. Fen Lin lay down on the deck chair in the courtyard to rest. Many things happened during this time. The land of Jiao exists in name only, but this woman, Qin Lily, always feels like a big variable. The empress of the Jiali tribe is also a problem. Fen Lin was thinking about whether he should discuss it with the old man. As for Wupo and Kai Lin, Fen Lin would find them sooner or later. Again. Fen Lin helplessly covered his face, having resolved a realm of temper. Now another one appears. Oh. This orb flew across the street and landed on Meng Qingshen's side. Fen Lin rolled his eyes, probably because he was hiding his aura. The other party couldn't find it, so they felt the fluctuations of Zhao King and the others and went to the opposite side. Fen Lin immediately stood up and walked over. Where is Fen Lin? Get him out of here. Han Jing's voice was hoarse, wearing a black robe, and roaring at the surroundings. Along with the sound, terrifying power poured out in all directions. Zhao King and others were shocked by this force and fell heavily to the ground. Shit. Is this young man so angry? Men Chengsheng turned his wheelchair and looked at Huan Jing. You are looking at the wrong place. This is not Feng Lin's house. Impossible. According to the information, who are you? At this moment, Fen Lin's voice came from behind Huan Jing. Han Jing immediately turned around, looked at Fen Lin in front of her, and shouted, Fen Lin, I will kill you. Boom. The grass under Huan Jing's feet instantly collapsed and she ran rampantly without any plan. Stop. Is there any misunderstanding between us? Fen Lin immediately left and fled to Zhu Wang's villa. Second Master, this man is so powerful. Go and help Fen Lin. Zhao King stood up from the ground and quickly asked Men Chengsheng for help. Don't worry, they know each other. You can continue training. Men Chengsheng smiled and shook his head. The other side. Han Jing grabbed Fen Lin's neck head-on. Buzz. Black smoke blocked Han Jing's attack. Han Jing suffered this loss last time and her figure receded instantly. Broken. At that moment, a hand fell on his shoulder. When you had brains, you couldn't beat me. Now that you don't have brains, do you think you can win? Fen Lin stuck several thumbtacks into his body, sealing his meridians. Immediately afterwards, he took out Liu Yunan's chains and tied her hands behind her. Han Jing struggled with all her strength and couldn't break free at all. Fen Lin took off his black robe, revealing his red face. However, her eyes were as swollen as light bulbs and she had obviously cried. Han Jing screamed and knelt on the ground, shedding tears. It's all your fault that the Dragon King doesn't want me. Who are you? That. Fen Lin frowned. For such a master, the Dragon King said he didn't want me anymore, he just doesn't want him. Chapter 544 The Identity of the Little Fox. This is completely different from Fen Lin's idea. Fen Lin's original intention was to make his own people suspicious of each other. Because Huan Jing is the realm of tempering. Not to mention this murderous organization, even in Wujian, they can be called masters. Unexpectedly, the Dragon King directly kicked her out. Is it possible that there are so many masters in Dragon Palace? Beauty, don't cry yet. Where do you start talking about this? Fen Lin sat on a nearby stone pier and asked doubtfully, it's none of my business that you were kicked out. You're still arguing. That's right. Thanks to your photos, the Dragon King found out. Han Jing sat on the ground, struggling and screaming. Did I photoshop it? Damn. What should I say? My photo disappeared. Fen Lin patted his head and said, this matter has nothing to do with me. You did it on purpose. Han Jing shouted. Beauty, let me tell you the truth. Fen Lin's face suddenly became serious. Actually, I prefer people like you with animal ears, so I posted the photo in my room for my viewing pleasure. When Fen Lin said this, he said angrily, but who would have thought that my photo was stolen and I didn't let it be stolen on purpose? After hearing this, Han Jing calmed down a little. Han Jing said before that he would come to kill Fen Lin, but then he saw the photo and complained to the Dragon King. In the final analysis, Fen Lin was simply unintentional and the culprit was Huan Jing. Who asked you to post my photos? Han Jing shouted coldly. I'm sorry, it's so beautiful, just like ordinary people who like to put posters of celebrities on their walls. Fen Lin was sincere. Are you sure? We are different from your human race. Han Jing gradually stabilized her mood and asked strangely. As far as I know, many orcs have their ears and tails removed from birth. That's blasphemy. This is obviously the best thing God has left for you. Fen Lin said with a compassionate expression on his face, what is your name? That bastard Dragon King doesn't want you, I do. This is a master. He is still a realm of temper, and if you have it in your hand, it can help him do a lot of things. You can't scold the Dragon King. Han Jing said loudly. I'm going to scold you. In fact, it made such a beautiful person cry. I wish I could kill him. Fen Lin covered his heart, pretending to be sad. At your level, you must have done a lot for him, right? Han Jing gritted her teeth and finally nodded. You are ungrateful. You have done so many things for him and yet I will chase you away just because of the photo. Fen Lin stomped on the ground angrily. He didn't mean that. Han Jing was still defending Long Hao. After all, she had never remembered him. The Red Fox clan obeyed Long Hao's orders. You are still speaking for him, then you can go. Fen Lin took out some thumbtacks and then used pieces of iron to untie the chains. Han Jing shook her wrist slightly, lowered her head and said, the Dragon King is a man of one word. He said he would kill me the next time we meet. Fuck. Don't stop me, I'll kill him. Fen Lin walked out and even reached the door, but Huan Jing did not stop him yet. By the way, I don't know the way. Fen Lin was about to turn around when he saw Okiao walking from the villa diagonally towards the door. Fen Lin, what are you arguing about here? When he saw the pair of animal ears in the yard, he was so surprised that he almost dropped his phone. Wow. Is this the real beast tribe? Okiao trotted over. No. Fen Lin followed him. How does this little boy know more than him? My teacher once said. Okiao walked up to Huan Jing and looked at her ears. Huan Jing looked at the cute girl in front of her and her mood gradually recovered. Fen Lin sat back on the recliner and thought. Should I inform the old man or not? At this moment, a breath entered Fen Lin's perception range. The next moment, a white fox jumped into Fen Lin's lap. Where have you been? Didn't you say not to run? Fen Lin rubbed the little fox's head. At the side, Huan Jing glanced sideways. His eyes grew wider and wider. The little fox also noticed Huan Jing next to him. You are? Huan Jing walked towards the little fox step by step. He looked into the little fox's golden and silver eyes and knelt on the ground with a plop. What's wrong with you? Even if you kneel down, I don't have the money to hand out red envelopes. Fen Lin hugged the little fox and asked with a strange expression on his face. Who kneeled before you? Huan Jing said fiercely to Fen Lin. He looked at the little fox with sincere eyes. This aura is right, I can even feel the pressure. You should be from the colorless bloodline of the Fox clan, right? The little fox broke away from Fen Lin's arms and stood in front of him. Fen Lin's arms on his legs. Looking at Huan Jing, he finally nodded in a very human manner. Sure enough. Huan Jing's face was filled with ecstasy. What the hell? It's normal that you don't know. In fact, our fox tribe is divided into many categories. Huan Jing was still kneeling on the ground and explained to Fen Lin. For example, the Ella race of your human race also has many divisions. Fen Lin nodded secretly. Well said. For example, the people of Southeast Asia, although they are all yellow, have obviously different appearances. Although the world is generally divided into 3 major races, there are more than 2,000 ethnic groups. Colorless clan who once lead our Fox clan down the path of evolution. Huan Jing paused and said, he is equivalent to the direct descendants of Emperors Yan and Huang of China. What the hell? Fen Lin grabbed the little fox's tail and said, Titan, you're so amazing. Woo. The little fox suddenly smiled at Fen Lin. Don't be rude to adults. Took the little fox from Fen Lin's hand. You mean, can this little fox become a human? Okiao also asked curiously. I don't know. This is in Legends and I haven't seen it before. But as a member of the Red Fox tribe, I have a deep understanding of this sacred feeling. Huan Jing hugged the little fox with full eyes of respect. Fen Lin smiled and waved his hands, but said no more. Fen Lin's original plan was to release this little fox. Even now, I have no interest in his identity. Everything, let it be. Suddenly, Fen Lin stood up straight and saw the second master standing at the door of the villa, leaning on a cane. He immediately followed him and asked, Second master, why are you standing? I'm going to see someone and I'll be back in a bit. You don't have to follow me. After Men Changsheng finished speaking, he hit the ground with his crutch and disappeared. Huan Jing frowned, this old man is not simple. A deserted alley in the village area. Men Changsheng walked in astonishingly on crutches. In front of him was an older woman with long silver hair. He was wearing a black coat and had some wrinkles at the corners of his mouth. What is striking is that there are several circles of black cloth wrapped around this woman's eyes. Together with the eyebrows and nose they are covered. Is it Lao Man? The woman's magnetic and aged voice came. Chapter 545 I can defeat 1,000 armies. Phoenix, what do you want to do? Men Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly, with a rare seriousness on his face. I haven't seen you for many years, old friend. What do you mean by your tone? Jin Feng Huang raised the corners of his mouth. Okay, I'm leaving. I have nothing to tell you. Men Changsheng leaned on crutches and turned around. Old man. Do you remember the deadline? It's almost here. Jin Feng Huang reminded with a smile. HMPH. What am I afraid of? Men Changsheng stopped and turned indifferently. Of course you are not afraid, what about the people around you? Jin Feng Huang asked with a smile. Then let's try it. Men Changsheng's crutch penetrated the ground and said word by word. I can match 1,000 armies. Golden Phoenix snorted, covered his mouth and left. Old man, you have become a bad old man. Man. Do you still show your advantage in this way? Men Changsheng said nothing and left here on crutches. I just remind you kindly, don't be carried away by the children and join the dead knight, that kind of home game. Don't be embarrassed, Lin Feng said to Men Qingshan's back. We can make a bet. It will be these children who will destroy you. After Men Qingshan finished speaking, he disappeared. Lin Feng shook his head and gently touched the thumb of his left hand. A black eye rod appeared in his hand. He lightly tapped the ground and walked out the other end of the alley. Fen Lin was resting on a lounge chair in the courtyard. As for Huanjing, she always remained in front of the little fox. Kaikioqiao sat in front of them and listened to Huanjing's story about the Red Fox clan. Let's go. Men Qingshan stopped at the door of the villa on crutches. Fen Lin immediately jumped out of the recliner and walked over with his hands in his trouser pockets. After walking out, Fen Lin chuckled and said, What? Come in, second master. You must still remember that when you asked me to leave my hometown, I asked you to promise me something. Men Qingshan looked at Fen Lin and said, Of course I remember. Fen Lin nodded with a smile. The second master's matter is my matter. Don't say one thing, I won't complain about 10. Haha, your words are enough, hurry up. Work harder. I will need your help soon. Men Qingshan nodded with a smile and walked to another place on the opposite side with a cane. Fen Lin looked at Men Qingshan's back and shook his head slightly. It seems that the second master also has something on his mind. To become knight. Zhao King went back to cooking. When he saw Huanjing next to him, he was almost startled. Although Fen Lin gave her an explanation, Zhao King still found it incredible. However, this person was standing in front of her and she could only accept the reality. Fen Lin sat on the sofa, waiting for dinner. The phone rang suddenly. He took it out and looked at it. It was the old man's phone. What's wrong? Fen Lin asked. Did I receive news the Dragon Palace has attacked you recently? Ji Guangling's voice was a little solemn. Not bad. Fen Lin looked at Huanjing next to him, and then walked out with his cell phone. After reaching the courtyard, he said, There was a murderer who was about to get angry, but I killed him. You're getting scarier and scarier. It seems like my worries are unnecessary. Ji Guangling said there. I remember I said I had a mission, so I can tell you now. Fen Lin didn't say anything and quietly waited for the next step. Former sect leader Zikiding is dead, Ji Guangling said over the phone. That. Fen Lin was extremely surprised. Zikiding was one of the 10 sects of China. The strength and foundation are unfathomable. I heard that this sect has been around for over 600 years. The old sect master died, and the new sect master who took office is now hosting a banquet for the guests, Ji Guangling said in a deep voice. He didn't invite our country except for some sects, but they invited the alliance. And other races. Stop. Old master, what are you talking about? Can't I understand you? Fen Lin's voice was suddenly filled with doubts. What are you pretending to be? Now that you have reached the temperament realm, Shaman will definitely tell you these things. Ji Guangling laughed and cursed there. Keep talking, Fen Lin smiled. I suspect that Zikiding has cooperated with other races and is preparing to fight against the country in the future, Ji Guangling said there. Fen Lin also lowered his head and thought deeply. He knew that there were actually many ancient sects. There is no concept of country at all. They don't care about the world. I just want to follow that path of heaven on my own on a third of an acre of land. Just like when faced with foreign aggression, most chose to remain behind closed doors. These powerful sects have existed for at least 100 years and at most thousands of years. I have seen too many dynasties change. Fen Lin had come into contact with several powerful sects and his words were full of arrogance. Even called them mortals. What is my mission? Don't tell me you will let me destroy them. Fen Lin smiled awkwardly. In the face of the major sects, the country had no choice, let alone itself. No, I hope you will represent the country and go to explore the situation and see how you are treated, Ji Guangling said there. I didn't invite the Wuji elders to go. It's not appropriate. Grandpa, yes, aren't you afraid of being left there? Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Don't worry, I've already greeted an old friend from the Alliance. If the older generation takes action, it will definitely help. As for the younger generation, Ji Guangling paused and smiled, I'll help you. Well, after all, I promised you in the first place, tell me the time and place. Fen Lin sighed. Whether he is going to see the world or not, he feels that his current strength is not proportional to the secrets he knows. Go there tomorrow and I will send you the address immediately. Ji Guangling said with a smile. Okay, after Fen Lin finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Returned to the living room. Zhao King already served the food. Huanjing also took off her black robe and her big red tail swung gently behind the chair. Fen Lin, come and eat. Seeing Fen Lin coming in, Zhao King smiled and greeted. Fen Lin sat next to Zhao King. Seeing Fen Lin sit down, Han Jing immediately picked up her chopsticks and started devouring. No one will compete with you, eat slowly. Fen Lin looked at Han Jing's appearance and shook his head with a smile. Well, this food is delicious. Han Jing nodded shyly. Unexpectedly, the Wu's clan master was on Fen Lin's side. Anyone who was attracted to such an important fish must also be friends with the Red Fox clan. Therefore, Han Jing does not feel any hatred towards Fen Lin now. Although he respects the Dragon King very much, he is still far behind compared to the bigwigs of the colorless clan. After all, this is their clan, the spiritual leader. After dinner, Fen Lin asked Zhao King to let Han Jing take a bath first and then find a room to stay. Zhao King nodded. Fen Lin sat on the sofa and searched for the address sent by Ji Guangling. Kaiqiao leaned on the sofa and put her little feet on Fen Lin's legs. After a while, the bathroom door opened. Along with a burst of water mist, Han Jing stepped out timidly. King, your clothes are too small. Fen Lin looked up and almost spat. Chapter 546 Evil Man. The Han Jing in front of her was wearing a wide short-sleeved shirt with a bear pattern on the front. In front of her, she turned into a 3D image. Also, this bear swelled up a lot. Fen Lin was surprised, no wonder he wanted to control her last time. He was repelled by a magical force. I think it's quite suitable. Fen Lin crossed his legs and looked at him and said, obscene. Kaiqiao puffed her lips and kicked Fen Lin with her little foot. Zhao King immediately walked over and took a look, full of envy in her heart. What did these people grow up eating? Wait a moment, Zhao King could only get a dress from Zhu Ruoying's room. However, after receiving it, he immediately sent a message to Zhu Ruoying. Although he knew that Zhu Ruoying definitely wouldn't care. But at the end of the day, it's someone else's clothes, so you have to let them know. Fen Lin stretched. I had to work tomorrow, so I should rest early today. Return to the room. He took off his coat and lay down. He held the back of his head and stared at the ceiling. Nowadays, he also knows the importance of power. It is difficult to achieve many things by yourself. Humans are social animals and a person will always make people feel easy to intimidate. Even if I can't beat you, I dare to provoke the people around you. But big forces are different. Others will consider the price they will pay in the future before provoking someone. Today, when Fen Lin courted Han Jing, he already had a general idea. It is about establishing a completely new force. Dead Knights are a thing of the past. Furthermore, everyone knows that Dead Knight is cultivated by the state. No matter how cruel you are, it won't get you anywhere. He wants to establish a completely new force, and anyway, the masters around him are enough. In addition to the second teacher, you can also call the parent. As for the talents of the fourth and fifth sons, Fen Lin believed 100%. Before long, they will appear in front of him with a completely new appearance. Of course, there's Zhu Ruoying. His talent is even better than Lao Wu. Furthermore, she is a descendant of Tu Fu and has the most mysterious lineage. I believe he will become a strong man in the near future. The sound of the door opening interrupted Fen Lin's thoughts. Kaiqiao walked in and closed the door. She took off her princess dress, took off her boots, and lay down next to Fen Lin. Fen Lin, there is nothing good about a big woman like that. She has no sense of beauty. Kaiqiao rested her head on Fen Lin's arm, puffed her cheeks and said, clothes are a waste of money. Fabric. You don't know anything. Fen Qiao said. Lin rolled her eyes. HNPH. Superficial and interesting souls are the most important. Kaiqiao turned her head and said to Fen Lin. You're right, I actually hate big guys too. Fen Lin suddenly nodded. Really? It's not pretty at all. Smooth curves are the most beautiful. Kaiqiao smiled. Yes, when I saw the big ones, I felt uncomfortable and couldn't help but want to crush them with my hands. Fen Lin raised his hand and made a gesture. Duh. Shameless. Kaiqiao's face turned red and she turned her head. Early the next morning, Fen Lin looked at Kaiqiao, who was still sleeping soundly, and stood up silently. When he came out, he found that Zhao King had already started making breakfast. King, I have to go out to do a task today and I will leave all family matters to you, Fen Lin said with a yawn. Zhao King poked her head out of the kitchen. Fen Lin rubbed his eyes and headed to the villa opposite. Men Chengsheng was observing the flowers in the garden as usual. Fen Lin reported this mission to the second master. Purple Kidding. It is indeed a big sect. Men Chengsheng looked at Fen Lin. You still have to be careful, you have made too many enemies recently. Second master, when it comes to this matter, I have an idea in my mind. Fen Lin tell Men Changsheng about restoring his power. It's up to you, you're the boss. Men Changsheng said with a smile. Haha, second master, if it is established, can you bring your sister away? Fen Lin suddenly smiled lasciviously. Get out of here, uncle. Men Changsheng laughed and cursed. Fen Lin leaned on Men Changsheng's wheelchair and whispered, you are one of the few elders. If you have any worries, I will share them with you. Men Changsheng's smile stopped suddenly and then he sighed. Little brat, I've grown up. I have been tempered. With the killing skills you taught me, I can be invincible in the late stages of tempering, Fen Lin said solemnly. It's not enough, it's not enough. Men Changsheng took out his pipe and smiled bitterly. I never told you about myself because I didn't dare. Do not you dare. Fen Lin looked at Men Changsheng. Yes, I'm afraid it will have a bad influence on you. I am a bad person, an unprecedented evil person. Men Changsheng took a deep breath of cigarette. When I was young, I did a lot of things wrong. Fen Lin looked at Men Changsheng calmly and remained silent. In fact, Fen Lin had doubts from the beginning. Who was the second master? He has a very professional understanding of assassination. The moves are deadly and one hit will kill. Never give your opponent a chance to breathe. But when he was a child, Fen Lin saw Men Changsheng as a kind grandfather. Was carrying out his mission in the dead night. When Men Changsheng was facing the enemy, he would not kill him if he could. Second master, all people are selfish. Fen Lin comforted him with a smile. Bad people do not deserve sympathy, but family members are different. Child, the more you say that, the more I feel that you are guilty. Men Changsheng raised his hand and rubbed his eyes. Hey, when people get old, they will always become sentimental. If you don't mention this matter, it will affect your mood. Fen Lin smiled, and your task now is train teachers. Let them grow quickly and don't ask me for help, just let them protect themselves. Okay, Men Changsheng nodded. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked to the opposite side. Men Changsheng looked at Fen Lin's back, closed his eyes and sighed deeply. After Fen Lin had breakfast, set off. Ziqiling is located in the upper reaches of the Yellow River, near Hexi. The location is Yuan City. Yuan is an ordinary prefecture-level city, and its economy is relatively undeveloped. The afternoon when Fen Lin arrived here, he planned to first go to the mountains and forests outside Yuan City, where the Purple Key Court was located. Fen Lin. A woman suddenly shouted from a distance. Yanzahia. Fen Lin looked at the beautiful woman in Hanfa in the distance and called softly. However, it was normal for her to come here. I heard from Ji Guangling that in addition to inviting other races, Purple Kidding also has some sects. Powerful. These sects do not cooperate with the state. Naturally, Jinting is among them. If they had cooperated with the country, Yanjiang, who was ranked second on the list, would not be at the top. How presumptuous you are. How dare you call me by my name? Yanzahua crossed her arms angrily. Look, I should call myself senior, right? Fen Lin remembered that this man didn't know his own strength. Chapter 547. Isn't it the king's land in the whole world? That's all. Yanzahua really liked this title because he could demonstrate his own strength. Instead of calling Miss with those people and Jinting. The title Miss can only prove your identity. I remember you were from the countryside. Are you here for the Purple Kidding? Yanzahua suddenly asked. Not bad, Fen Lin smiled, just in time to follow her. I advise you not to go. I heard from my father that what they are discussing this time is how to fight the country. Yanzahua touched Fen Lin's belly. With your level of strength, you won't be able to do anything if someone hits you. Now. Don't I have top protection? Fen Lin said with a smile. HNPH. You're pretty good at talking. Yanzahua brushed her hair with her hand, raised her face and said, Don't worry, my dad will also come this time. Just follow me and I'll make sure. No one dares touch you. Fen Lin's eyes narrowed slightly. Because when Yanzahua was raising her hair, she found that the other party had another ring in her hand. How could he get hold of such a treasure? He had a bad thought in his heart. But in the end he shook his head. This time they want to help me anyway, so forget it. Haha, thank you, senior. Fen Lin clasped his hands in front of Yanzahua. Let's go, I won't wait for my dad, I'll take you there now. Yanzahua looked at Fen Lin and said. Okay. Fen Lin nodded. The two took a taxi out of the city. After getting off the car, Fen Lin looked towards the mountains not far away. The mountain forest here is a dangerous place. There are cliffs everywhere. Yanzahua and Fen Lin walked towards the top of the mountain together. Halfway up the mountain, Fen Lin discovered that there were many people around. All of these people are very powerful and cannot be compared with those families in the secular world. Miss Young. A long-haired man dressed in black clothes watched from a distance. This man has a Chinese character face and a burly body, which gives him a very determined appearance. Gunshen. Is your fixing sect here too? Yan Zihua looked at the man in surprise. Fen Lin was secretly surprised. The fixing sect, like Yanding, belonged to the top 10 sects in China. I heard that the Flying Star sect has a unique ability and can walk in the air 7 times. It is equivalent to 7 jumps in a row. Yes, I didn't expect us to meet here. What a fate. Guansheng's face was full of smiles, then he looked at Fen Lin and asked, who is it? Oh, he's my friend. Yan Zihua introduced him with a smile. His name is Fen Lin. Hello, Fen Lin said with a smile. But Guansheng didn't even look at Fen Lin and continued to say to Yan Zihua, Miss Yan, let's go in. I heard that a big shot is coming this time. Who's coming? Yan Zihua asked strangely. The Empress of the Jiali tribe, the military leader of the Jiali tribe, Guansheng said in a low voice. However, most of the people present were of the divine realm. Of course they heard this. Everyone looked solemn. I didn't expect people from the Jiali tribe to come. Yes, the people of the Jiali tribe are very crazy. They think that Jiali is the owner of this land. Yes, especially Mr. Soldier Li Henshin. They regard our human race as prey. What are the purple kiddies doing? Many septs and sects around were talking about it. Compared to other races, these sects are not so opposed. Only the Jiali tribe. Because other races never consider themselves human beings, but the Jiali people are different. Their subconscious believes that they are the real human beings. They also lived in the land of China. However, the Jiali led by Kaiyu were defeated by the tribes of Emperors Yan and Huang. No, I want to inform our leader. I also want to report, if the Jiali tribe's purpose is to catch us and kill us, who should we ask to reason? Everyone around us couldn't sit still, they all took out their mobile phones and called Zongman. Fen Lin's thoughts were also flying. If both the Empress and the Master Soldier come, then I must seize the opportunity. With Kai Jianyang here, it would definitely save his life. Fen Lin, what are you doing standing? Come in. Yan Zihua smiled, took Fen Lin by the shoulders, and walked towards a cave in the distance. Guansheng's eyes were full of sternness and he waved his hand gently. An old man appeared next to him. Look, who was this kid? Yeah. After the old man finished speaking, he disappeared. Inside the ruins. There are many palaces all over the mountains. The area here is known as the Net of Jia Land. He still maintains a very original attitude. Not far away, you can see someone riding a horse, speaking on the road. Fen Lin looked around. There are many people of other races here, but judging from the appearance, most of them are beasts. Fen Lin. At this moment, the voice of a slightly mature woman came not far away. Fen Lin looked back and said in surprise, Jin Isai. She was from Dark Crow. Of course, she is also Fen Lin's fiancée. However, Fen Lin felt that there were too many women, which was also problematic. From now on, no matter how beautiful the fiancé is, as long as he doesn't know her and is below D, everyone will be removed. Haha, Fen Lin, I didn't expect your relationship with Miss Young to be so good. Jin Isai found Yan Zihua and pulled Fen Lin's arm. Fen Lin, do you know her? Yan Zihua looked at Jin Isai lightly. Oh, I'm Fen Lin's fiancé, Jin Isai said before Fen Lin could speak. That. When Yan Zihua heard this, she immediately let go of Fen Lin's arm. Senior, don't listen to her nonsense. I broke off the engagement with her. Fen Lin looked at Jin Isai and said. Fen Lin, you are so cruel. You won't admit it after playing with him. Jin Isai suddenly rubbed his eyes. I'll clean it up. Don't talk nonsense. Fen Lin immediately pointed at Jin Isai. Yan Zihua also looked at the two of them and shocked before she could speak. At the place of the entrance to the ruins, Guansheng appeared here. He pointed at Fen Lin and said loudly, Fen Lin. You are so brave. You are from the country's secret army and you dare to come here. His voice was so loud that in the blink of an eye, everyone around it was heard attracted. There is nothing in the world but the land of the king. In the land of China, wherever I want to go is my freedom. Fen Lin stepped forward, his voice neither humble nor arrogant. Haha. You have such a strong tone, humble mortals, do you really think you are the proud sons of heaven? Guansheng glanced with disdain, pointed at Fen Lin and shouted, our sect is Yan Huang Orthodox. Sheng. That's enough. Yan Zihua said with an unhappy expression, Fen Lin is my friend, and I, Yunbing, brought him over. He is a member of the country. Even according to external laws, he broke it privately. Houses. Comedic didn't invite them. Wen Shang shouted to the surroundings, "Where are the purple comedic disciples? Why don't we kick this bastard out?" Giggle. Suddenly, a sound came from afar. A mature, magnetic smile. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 548 Li Henshin. Everyone looked back and saw a mature woman dressed in an office uniform walking from a distance. The suit jacket is up. The lower body is a hip-hugging skirt, and the long legs are wearing black stockings. She has long black hair and the most striking thing about her are her eyes. He doesn't have the whites of his eyes. The eyes are surrounded by black. As for the eyes, they are dark red. This woman's fingers placed on her dark red lips gave people great temptation. Shit. It's a ghost. It's over. I feel like I have a lump. SHH. Keep your voice down, don't you want to live anymore? That's Luburin. What? She's Luburin. I heard she's a big shot in the Alliance's decision-making committee. Her strength is unfathomable. Many people around saw this middle-aged woman walking towards here. Everyone couldn't help but look at her. It cannot be said that this woman is very beautiful, but she has absolute charm. His behavior seems captivating. Focus all men's eyes on her. Giggle. Are you Fen Lin? Luburin smiled and looked at Fen Lin with his strange eyes. Hello, Senior. Fen Lin smiled and took his hands. Senior Lu, this Fen Lin is a member of the country and is not within the scope of Zikiding's invitation. Wen Shang said sharply. In addition to being a member of the country, Fen Lin is also a member of our ghosts. Lu Baidan smiled and raised his fingers towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked around and felt goosebumps all over his body. Is this chip not like you anymore? As soon as he took a step forward, Yan Zihua stood in front of Fen Lin. Yan Zihua looked at Lu Buren suspiciously. Fen Lin is a human being, how can he have anything to do with you? Fen Lin is my daughter's fiancé, Lu Buren said with a smile. Of course we are family. What? Not only the people here, but also the other races watching around them were a little confused. How virtuous and capable is this boy from the human race? He actually fell before the eyes of a ghost. Yan Zihua and Zheng Isai looked at Fen Lin in disbelief. Lu Buren is a bit shot in the Alliance. How could he tell such lies in front of so many people? How virtuous and capable is this Fen Lin? What would Lu Buren like? Fen Lin was also surprised. This woman called herself a ghost. She also said that her daughter was married to her. So she is most likely Lu Yao's mother. Of the two is so different that Fen Lin didn't expect it at first. Suddenly, Fen Lin was shocked as he remembered what Lu Yao said back then. A ghostly woman can't show her true face before getting married. Lin was able to roughly deduce Lu Yao's true appearance from the appearance of the woman in front of him. Haha. It turns out that he is the fiancé of the senior's daughter, so I will definitely give him face. Wen Shang immediately smiled with joy. If this child marries a ghost, his kidneys will not be able to support any of them. How could he still be in the mood to marry another woman? In this case, we will not compete with him for Yan Zihua. Fen Lin, it seems like you are very lucky. Lu Baidan looked at the two women next to Fen Lin and smiled charmingly. Fen Lin felt goosebumps again. He walked over with a smile on his face and whispered, Senior, is this Lu Yao's mother? Yes, exactly. Lu Buren smiled and nodded. I didn't expect to find you here. You. When Fen Lin found out that it was indeed one of their own, he pointed to an uninhabited place in the distance. Lu Baidan understood and accompanied Fen Lin there. Andy, it might cause some trouble later. You'd better not get too close to me, Fen Lin whispered when he arrived at the uninhabited mountain here. He was going to show his power. Anyway, Kai Jinheng will never let himself die and can generate as much hatred as he wants. Haha, okay. Lu Baidan crossed his arms in front of him and couldn't grab the buttons of his suit. Fen Lin tried his best to look away. How many minutes do you usually have? Lu Buren suddenly asked with a smile. Oh. Fen Lin looked confused. Is this a question an elder should ask? What are you pretending to be? I heard my daughter say that you have another woman. Lu Baidan said calmly. Does this matter? Fen Lin rolled his eyes and then said solemnly, Andy, if you don't agree to this marriage, I absolutely respect your opinion. What I like is strong offspring. Lu Buren smiled and said, our race was originally a minority. Now almost all people in the race are relatives. We were forced to have no choice but to choose foreigners. I see, Fen Lin nodded. The number one person I like is definitely talented. As he spoke, Lu Buren's finger hooked Fen Lin's chin. Fen Lin quickly took a few steps back. Andy, don't be like this, I'm so embarrassed. Hey, what are you ashamed of? Lu Bian put his arm around Fen Lin's shoulders and whispered in her ear. Fen Lin, actually at my age, you can also give birth to children. Seeing Fen Lin's embarrassment, Lu Bian chuckled, haha. Just a joke. He greeted Fen Lin and walked away with cat-like steps. I'll clean it up. Fen Lin cursed secretly. No wonder other people viewed this race through colored glasses. After seeing Lu Buan's character, people would be confused even if they didn't think about it. Fen Lin adjusted his pants a little, put his hands in his pockets, and walked away. Now, more and more people are gathering here. Fen Lin, come here quickly. When Yan Zihua saw Fen Lin returning, she waved at him. Wen Shang, who had been showing hospitality alongside Yan Zihua, looked gloomy. This brat is looking for death. When Lin Feng arrives, he will point out Fen Lin's identity in public. When the time comes, even Lu Buan will not dare to confront the Jia tribe tit-for-tat. Fen Lin just shook his head gently at Yan Zihua. This woman has a good character and what she does in a while may endanger Jinding. Yan Xiang, who was next to Yan Zihua, followed her daughter's gaze and looked at Fen Lin. Then, a trace of disdain appeared at the corner of his mouth. Does this kind of person also want to seduce his own daughter? An idiot's dream. Hello everyone, welcome to Zkidding. I am Zkidding's new boss, Zidonglei. At this moment, an old man with white hair and white eyebrows jumped down from the top of the mountain in the distance. His appearance immediately silenced the noisy surroundings. Zidonglei, the younger brother of the former boss, leading Presbyterian church. When the leader died, it was not unexpected that he inherited the position of leader. This time I invite everyone present to plan something unprecedented, which is to change the world and establish a completely new system. As Zidonglei spoke, a middle-aged man slowly floated from a high place. Behind the middle-aged man are a pair of black wings. He was wearing battle armor, had short white hair, and his red eyes were full of pride and arrogance. Surprisingly, his left arm was broken. In its place is a left arm made of dark wood. Hello everyone, I'm Li Henshin. His feet touched the ground. The wings behind him turned into black key and disappeared. Fen Lin looked at this man, hiding the killing intent on his face. It was he who cut off the second master's legs. Chapter 549. Are you brave? Not only Fen Lin, but also many sect masters around him had unpleasant expressions when they saw him. Everyone, I know some people don't like me and I won't hide it. I don't like you either. Li Henshin did not hide it and said with a smile. But even enemies will have common theme. Wen Shang originally planned to name Fen Lin's identity now. But after hearing what Li Henshin said, he decided to wait. After he finished speaking, Fen Lin, who knew the secret, would definitely die if he said it. First let me tell you my idea, which is to create a world of all races. Li Henshin looked around and said loudly. A world of all races. Everyone around him was talking about it. Yes, have you never thought why those humble ordinary people can live under the sun? The corners of Li Henshin's lips raised. We are so strong, but we have to hide in the dark. You mean? Are you going to let the sect and other races come to light? Yan Xiang asked in a deep voice in the distance. Yes. This is the idea, let's go back to ancient times and gain territory based on strength. Li Henshin smiled and spread his hands. Fen Lin was shocked. This man was crazy. If his thoughts were followed, the casualties among the outsiders would be measured in hundreds of millions. Those ordinary people will even become dolls of these races. I think Mr. Master Soldier's idea is very good, Zidonglei said with a smile. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? A young man's voice suddenly came from the quiet surroundings. Everyone searches for the source of the sound. It finally fell on Fen Lin. He trembled with fear and quickly winked at Fen Lin. This guy is crazy. Do you know which one it is? What's more, Li Henshin is a murderous monster, isn't he looking for death? Jin Isai also frowned and spoke regardless of the occasion. This is because I think I have a long life. You're a member of the country's secret army, how dare you come here to act so recklessly? Wen Shang almost laughed out loud. This kid is so crazy that he spoke first before opening his mouth. And he also openly refuted Li Henshin. This is an old man who hangs himself and seeks death. Is he from the country? The country is not included in the invitation this time. How did he get in? Everyone around looked at Fen Lin and murmured in low voices. Just as Yan Zihua was about to get up, Yan Xiang grabbed her shoulders and shook his head gently at her. No one told me. Stopped, I went in alone. Fen Lin spread his hands indifferently. Young man, you just said that it was a beautiful thought. Do you see any drawbacks? Lu Buan covered his mouth and laughed a few times, then asked Fen Lin. Others also glanced sideways. This gentleman's method, to put it bluntly, is to let die ordinary people from the outside world. Feng Lin took a step forward, looked around and said, "You can't see much in a short time, but if you think about it, are all the masters of our sect direct descendants? Everyone present is in a high position and is not a fool." After Feng Lin casually mentioned it, he understood the reason. Of course, not all of these human clan masters are direct descendants, even if the direct lineage has the advantage of counting. With natural resources and treasures, there will still be some young masters who will stand out. Even these so-called direct descendants, 3 generations above, are all ordinary people from the outside world. From the lowest level of outer sect disciple, he was promoted little by little. Many sect masters look down on ordinary people in the outside world, but you or your elders come from ordinary people. Feng Lin looked around and continued, "To put it bluntly, the future of the sect is in the outside world. Among the common people, they are almost dead. You, the boss, know better than me what will happen to the clan. Human in the future. Yes, what Mr. Master Soldier said is nice, but the real purpose is to divide our human clan." An old man nodded vigorously. Other sects also began to serve him. When most of the humans in the outside world were dead, the sect had no fresh blood to inject. So, in the near future, the sect will die. Boy, are you brave. Lin Feng looked at Feng Lin with cold eyes. "You're talking nonsense here, and by the way, you're a member of the country, no wonder." At this point, Lin Feng walked towards him step by step. Feng Lin arrived. Feng Lin's face was calm, but his heart was beating wildly. Even if the old man had a teacher here, Feng Lin believed that the teacher would not be able to defeat Lin Feng. Feng Lin put his hand on his belt. As long as the opponent makes the slightest movement, he will be ready to use the 7 deadly needles to escape. The corners of Wensheng's mouth curled up. This Feng Lin deserved to die. "Stop." Yan Xiang crossed her arms and stood in front of Lin Feng. "I think this little brother is right." At first, Yan Xiang didn't like Feng Lin, but this kid dared not refute Lin Feng face to face. "I hate the sky." This kind of courage is not something that ordinary people can possess. What's more, he expressed the thoughts of many sects. Although the disciples of this sect have always believed that they are superior to others. But this kind of mentality is human nature. The same goes for ordinary people. After earning a lot of money, he looks down on his poor relatives in the village. I think they have low values and behave stupidly. But these people are not all. This kid confuses good and evil here, damn it. Lin Feng said expressionlessly. Because Feng Lin's words touched his heart. In his opinion, humans are just ants who depend on numbers to win. Simply separate them and defeat them one by one. The human race is vulnerable. Originally, the sect had no feelings for ordinary people in the outside world. But they didn't expect that this boy's words would actually strengthen their bond. Must die. "I don't think this little brother is confusing good and evil," Yan Xiang said tit for tat. Lin Feng's expression became more and more cold. "Yan Xiang, who do you think you are? Even if you're your father, I don't take it seriously. We don't agree with each other." Yan Xiang grabbed Yan Zihua. He looked at Feng Lin and said, "Young man, let's go." "Despicable things, can you leave?" Lin Feng's eyes were fierce. Several leaves grew on his left wooden arm. Then it turned into a vine and buried itself in the ground. Boom. The surrounding mountains began to shake violently. "Come on." Yan Xiang's expression changed. He immediately grabbed Yan Zihua and Feng Lin and fled towards the exit. Whoa, whoa. Suddenly, countless vines sprouted from the ground in front of them. The vines were like pythons, turning into a bird cage, trapping the 3 people inside. Feng Lin felt a little moved in his heart. This Yan Xiang is a character. "Yan Xiang, you can take your daughter. I only kill eagle dogs in this country, but if you insist on going against me, I will kill you." Although Lin Feng is a radical from the Jiali tribe. But as a party leader, with so many people following him, what can he do if he has no brains? Yan Xiang can't die. If he dies, Jining will defect to the country. There may even be a butterfly effect afterwards. Many powerful sects fall on the country's side. The humans crowded together. It is even more unfavorable for them, the Jiali clan. "Okay, let's go." Yan Xiang looked at Feng Lin lightly. "I'm sorry, I can't save you." "Dad." Yan Zihua shouted and clung to Yan Xiang's arm. Chapter 550. Big sister still gives me face. It's useless even if you bet me. I won't put us in an unfavorable situation for the sake of this random person. Yan Xiang put Yan Zihua on his shoulders and looked at Lin Feng. Whoever knows the current affairs is a hero. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. This Yan Xiang can be considered a person. You must die from now on. However, today, in front of so many people, he cannot be touched. He waved his hand gently and the cage in front of Yanxiang opened a passage. As soon as Yanxiang came out, the passage closed again. Fen Lin had already held the thumbtack and was ready to escape at any time. However, who was the teacher that the old man has prepared? Shouldn't you show your face right now? You're a liar, a country hog, you're the one who deserves to die. Lin Feng's eyes moved and leaves began to grow from the cage. Finally, it turned into countless vine spikes and quickly moved towards Fen Lin's body. Lu Baiyan said with a slight smile, "Can you leave this little brother to me?" "No, he is so eloquent, he is afraid of confusing you." Lin Feng just finished speaking. There was a sudden explosion in the air. Boom. The cage formed by vines crumbled instantly. The ground beneath his feet also collapsed. Dust and grass clippings fly all over the sky. Lin Feng's eyes gradually narrowed into a thin line. When the dust in front of you gradually falls. In front of Fen Lin was a woman in armor. This woman also wears a horn battle helmet and her face mask is made of steel. Except for his eyes, all that was left on his head was long silver hair. Hanging from the ground. Fen Lin couldn't wait to run over and hug Kai Jinghan. "Still an older sister, give me face." What kind of teacher is this that Ji Guangling is looking for? Until now, I'm too afraid to act. It's the Empress. The Empress is really domineering. Everyone in the distance was shocked when they saw this outfit. There used to be many people who were curious as to why the Prajali tribe knelt before women. Today it seems I know the answer. "Jinheng, are you saving him?" Lin Feng's voice was cold and chilling. "Not bad." Kai Jinheng's voice was devoid of any emotion. Everyone around him was stunned. The Empress is from the Jili tribe and hates the descendants of Yan and Huang to the core. Why save Fen Lin? Could it be that he simply has a disagreement with Li Henshin? Jin Isai also frowned. This Fen Lin was too mysterious. "Were you going to deliberately go against me?" Li Henshin looked fierce and roared. Originally, he was the only one who died. Now, his 9 clans will die. You kill him and I will destroy you. Kai Jinheng's voice was filled with a strong chill. He turned his head and said calmly, "Let's go." "It's okay, sister." Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and looked at Guangshan. "Brother Guangshan, thank you for reminding us today and taking the time to oh my god, and who was your brother?" Lin's face Shang turned pale, looked around hurriedly, and explained, "I don't know him." Lu Buren's eyes were full of surprise. This guy was actually with the Empress. Everything matters originally. Henshin to see how much Fen Lin weighed. Unexpectedly, he was interrupted by the Empress. Li Henshin looked at the backs of the two, trying to hide his violent eyes. He took a deep breath and turned around with a smile. "Haha. I didn't expect such a farce to happen. Let's continue arguing, outside the ruins." Fen Lin smiled and flattered him. "Sister, you are my goddess." "Stop talking nonsense." Kai Jinheng grabbed Fen Lin by the shoulders and disappeared. On a high cliff. Kai Jinheng moved the side of Fen Lin's neck, and a strand of dark red light slowly dissipated. "What is this?" Fen Lin's expression suddenly changed. If Kai Jinheng hadn't used Ki to stimulate him, Lu Buren should be the only one who can achieve such a high level of transfer formation, Kai Jinheng said calmly. Fen Lin suddenly remembered that Lu Baiyan had put his arms around his neck and he had whispered in her ear. It was probably at that time that he carved that formation by himself. Fen Lin suddenly realized that she was the bodyguard that Ji Guangling was looking for. She should be able to transfer with this formation. To the old man. "I used to think that the person I was looking for was too cowardly to show up." "Okay, what will you do next?" Li Henshin keeps his word. Kai Jinheng's long silver hair fluttered in the wind behind him. "Sister, what do you think we should do?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. "You know my answer," Kai Jinheng said calmly. "You have no choice but to live with me and heal my wounds with peace of mind." "But I have to do the opposite, Sister Goddess, I am me." "Don't kill him," Fen Lin said with a smile. "I won't let you die before you heal my wound." Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin coldly. "Don't worry, if I really can't help it, I will come to you," Fen Lin said and suddenly asked, "I want to make sure of one thing. Can my sister see my current strength?" "No, our family has a special detection ability that can detect your whereabouts, but I can't detect your true power." Kai Jinheng paused and said, "Your secret skills are very advanced." "As my sister, I don't worry." Fen Lin smiled and nodded. "HNPH. If you die, they will dig your grave." After Kai Jinheng finished speaking, he disappeared. Fen Lin also jumped off the cliff, immediately changed his clothes and put on the mask prepared by Lao Si. After changing his cultivation level, he walked towards the mountain path. He first sent a message to Yun Zihia, telling her that he was fine. Then he called Ji Guangling. "Hey, boy, how are you?" Ji Guangling's loud voice came from the phone. "Oh no. I almost died there, you know. Fen Lin roared into the phone. Look, I gave you a simple task, but you said I wouldn't give you face, and I gave you something a little difficult, and you were scared to death. Ji Guangling looked strange there. A little. You don't know what happened. Fen Lin told Ji Guangling everything about this moment. In fact, it is a bit difficult for you, but I tell you, this level is daily. Ji Guangling smiled and said, your family, please move to the Duzalin ruins first. Fen Lin thought the same way before. With the second master and the two elders there, protecting Zhu Ruang and the others will not be a problem. Okay, this is the only thing we can do now, Fen Lin nodded. By the way, with your character, you shouldn't be afraid to leave your nest, right? Ji Guangling smiled there. Who are you looking down on? Rather, it's just what I want, Fen Lin said lightly. Okay. I'll tell you what you're going through now. He should be able to teach you some tricks. After speaking, Ji Guangling hung up the phone. Same time, different place. Fenken was riding a Phoenix bicycle and stopped at the top of a mountain village. There is a huge patio here. Fenken took out a piece of huasi from the basket in front of him. When he reached the wooden patio door, he knocked on it several times with a smile. The wooden door opened and it was no one else. Ranks third on the celestial list. King of Hell, Wang He is who? Haha. Happy birthday, old Wang. Fen Chen put huasi in Wang He is whose hand. This is real, definitely not fake. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.